Yes, everyone, you know what time it is. It's your boys Jack and Dave here. Forgot my flat cap. It's over to the side of me, so you do get to see me. Slightly different to Dave this time before I join him in our outfits together. But Monday, fan show. Plenty of you guys already in the background, which is lovely to see. Plenty of people want to have a chat. Plenty of people want to have their say. We got to win, Dave, on that Saturday. That felt good. 2-1 win. I was saying to people in the back end that you sustain so many 4-0 kind of defeats in a row that you actually start to cherish a 2-1 win. You start to feel like, it feels good to get a 2-1 win after getting beat badly so many times. But now the debate is, do we want to get beat badly again against Man City tomorrow? Please, everybody, come on, have your say. I know the man who will be getting started off with, Mr. Dermatron here. He's first in the queue. He actually might start off some fireworks, have a very different opinion to some of you fans about whether Spurs should be handing this one over to City. But other than that, of course, we can talk about kind of, wrapping up the season, maybe your thoughts on the Burnley match in general, any other bits of business as well. I think there was some news about striker targets that came out today as well, Dave, and sort of the transfer news. But other than that, really, I think it's just the last sort of fan show before we get the next following Monday, which will be, our season wrap up fan show. This is the last one before we do kind of that commemorative goodbye to the season and leave it all behind. So I'm not sure really, the topics other than, striker, maybe targets that came out today, the Man City game tomorrow, and then a bit of Burnley, if anybody wants to talk about that. Any other topics you could think of? Hello?
Look, Richarlison's season is over. Do we want to keep Richarlison? Basuma's season is over. Do Spurs fans still want to keep Basuma heading into next season? And also, for anyone that's interested, if they want to come on and chat about the Under-21 game yesterday, some great goals scored,
Great
got through.
point.
We're in the semi-final now. And also, Ange Postecoglou had a bit to say on that today about, creating a settled environment before he starts bringing them in. So if anyone wants to have their opinion on that, that's all I've got, Jacko.
Well done, Dave. You came up with even better stuff than I did, to be fair to you. But so many people in the chat as well. Good to see you all joining us. Please feel free at some stage to provide Dave and I with score updates on that Aston Villa game, because we would like to know if there is going to be any consequence when it comes to tomorrow. But let's get started here. We already have a nice and healthy queue. The chat, the link to come on to this fan show is in the community section, everybody, for all of you fan show members. So come on and have your say. OTC, no Arsenal. No, we can't let Arsenal win the league. Palace Hunter's in the house as well. Terry Betts is in here too. Palace Hunter saying Spurs must lose for all Premier League fans. Interesting. That's a lot of pressure. Terry Betts says, remember what I said, David? Spurs to finish on 66 points and finish fifth. Adrian Troca. Good evening, Dave, Jack, and all. Good to see you, Adrian, as always. Ribsy85 joining us this evening as well. Looking forward to chatting with him. It's been a while. Georgie Hill, good to see you, sir. While I can't bring myself to actively root to lose against City, I think Europa League suits us better. If we get into Champions League, it would just be a repeat of Newcastle this season, in my opinion. Very serious point that George brings up there, Dave. Could we pull an Eddie Howe, kind of season, the following one, if we were to get Champions League? Is there the danger of that?
Look, to be honest with you, when it comes to European football in general, I don't think it matters whether it's the Europa League, Conference League, or the Premier League, the Europa League. You're going to suffer a hell of a lot of injuries because you're doubling the amount of games. You're doubling the amount of games every week you're playing and stuff like that. So it really doesn't matter what level of European competition it is, to be brutally honest.
Yeah. I feel like with Spurs, it's just about getting back into a significant European competition. I think finishing in the Conference League would have been a slightly different story, but Europa League, I'll be honest, I think is improving. It's a very serious competition, still very hard to win. It shows that with very few English teams having won it, in recent years, I think does show that it's still a very difficult competition to get through. Al, Raktos Madness, we'll be speaking to him later. Big up to you, sir. He says, I think a winning mentality shouldn't be shut off for just one game, just despite our rival. We should beat City and Sheffield. Well, it looks like he might be in the Dermatron boat. And Mev Well as well, randomized saying, handing the Gooners the title for little chance for the title, for the little chance we'll play in the Champions League. No, just no. Well, we know how he feels. Danny Darko's in the house too. Big up to you, sir. Really appreciate your support as a member. Andrew Dunn is in here as well. Scotty Hynam, the one and only Scott. The Big T. Big up to you, Tyler. Hey, Dave and Jack. Hope all is well, boys. Doing okay, Tyler. Come on and have your say, sir. We'd love to chat to you. Level Earth is in here too. Appreciate your support, Level Earth. We have Machina Joe, Linda Williams, Steve R., We have Welsh guy 2014. Big up to Welsh guy. Good to see you in the house. I cannot want Spurs to lose. Sorry, not in my DNA. Don't care about the filth. Good to know. Plenty of people might be agreeing with Dermatron later. Stevie R, the amazing King Hoddle's in here too. Imagine this scenario. Ange and these players win us nothing, and their only legacy is handing the title to Arsenal after a 20-year wait by winning or drawing tomorrow. I pity them if that's the case. That's how I sort of see things, King Hoddle there. And Neil G just getting ready for the Blue Moon. Dave, Blue Moon, the beer, coming from the beer nerd that I am and the beer schnob that I am, not a big fan, actually. So I'm not sure if I will be able to, I guess whatever it takes, really, and to get over the line tomorrow to help Man City get the win. But will it take me having to drink a Blue Moon? Hopefully not, because I do not enjoy them. Just a little bit too much citrus kind of for me in the taste. Stevie Webb says, big up Dave and Jack, completely divided on this. Don't want to see the scum win the league. But on the other side, I'd like us to finish the season on a high. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Harris Army. Stevie Webb, good to see you as always, sir, and appreciate your support as a member. David O'Laughlin is in here too. MV Joker Davis, thanks for coming on the other day and just for popping in as well to say hi. Appreciate you, and thanks for keeping us company on the watch along the other day. Shem Tan as well, thanks for keeping us company during the watch along too. And he says, evening, Dave and Jack. Hope you're both doing well. I want to win tomorrow, regardless of what happens with Arsenal, but we won't beat this City team the way we've been playing. Yeah, I think people have forgotten that. Even if we tried, I don't think we could beat this City team. Phil Coys is in here too. Daniel Coys is in here. Kev Williams, the one and only Kev Williams. Ricardo, Mia W, who we'll speaking to later. Meta Football TV, Cantab, and Yo. Plenty of people in here. Really do appreciate you all. If you can for us, smash the like button. Get your comments in. Feel free to ask the guests, whoever we have on, a question. If you want to support the channel, grab a membership. You can come on and have your say. You can grab a Flat Cap membership. Plenty of membership content for you guys. Or if also as well, if you want to really have your say and have it be discussed, feel free to throw it in as a super chat. But Dave, am I missing anything before we bring on the Tron? I've given him so much hype. I hope he really throws some fireworks here. Only kidding. But he is going to have a controversial opinion, I believe.
Look, let's bring him on. My job is to argue. So let's go.
Here he is, and in all his glory.
All I'm going to say is treat me nice. I've been unwell with bronchitis and pleurisy the last week, and I'm still not over it. I came on for you, lads, so treat me fair.
That's what we heard Dermatron say in the back end, everybody. He's still not doing well. He's still pushing through some illness, so do wish him well. It's just your opinion you feel is so strong, Tron. You have to express it.
I cannot. I'm sorry, I can't. I was born a Spurs fan. I would die a Spurs fan. I don't like Arsenal. I don't even care what they do. They're just a noise down the road. They're like your noisy little brother that you want to give a kick up the arse now and again. I want us to beat Man City tonight, but we are playing tomorrow night. We are playing Man City, so they could spank us anyway. But I cannot go out there with the attitude of we can't win because we might give Arsenal the title. I can't do it. If we lose fighting, I can accept that. If we lose just by not trying, I can't accept that.
Do you really think the team's going to turn up and not try, though? They're not going to make it so obvious, right?
I want us to win tomorrow night, Dave. End off. I want us to go out on the high. We've had a tough season. We're better off than we were last season. Let's not forget where we were under Conte, the end of last season, or under Ryan Mason and Stellini. Nowhere. Dave was pulling his hair out. Jack was just going to the bottles of beer. He couldn't take any more. And we were all delusional and just come in, giving us belief, giving us pride, giving us what we believe in. And it's all about pride tomorrow night. So last home game of the season, I want us to go out there and give it us all. And if we win, and there's a chance of us getting Champions League, I want us to take it. Even if we finish fifth, I think we've had a fantastic season. But I want us to go out there with a bit of pride and a bit of determination. I don't care if we're playing Man City. And put the Arsenal thing out of our head, get the 3 points. Because if Villa lose tonight, Champions League is still up for grabs. And I think we'll do well in the Champions League. Because it's a different format and it is a league format. That sort of Newcastle sort of thing goes out the window. But look, for me, I just can't back us to lose tomorrow night. I'm sorry.
What if we do beat Man City and we still finish fifth and Arsenal go on to win the league and we've practically handed it to them?
Who knows? Are they going to beat Everton? Football's a funny old game. Could Everton turn up and spring a surprise on the last day of the season?
Is it more for you, Dermatron? Is it about the pride, the morale, or the morality of winning for you? It's like that's what you care more about.
Yeah, it is.
The principle of winning. It's not even about Champions League for you. Yes, that's an added bonus, but it's more about the pride in winning for you.
It is. It's the pride in winning. That's what it is for me. It's all about the pride in winning. You put that shirt on and you give 110%. And all this nonsense that's been going on. Oh, we got to lose to give it to Arsenal. I don't give a shit what Arsenal do. Arsenal are not the centre of my universe.
Really no, but they are your biggest rivals, though, Dermot. They do exist. We can't not deny that. Like, we do have
they're a noisy little brother, Dave, that lived that you want to kick up the... I don't care about Arsenal. Rival or not rival. I don't give a shit about Arsenal. I care about Tottenham and what they do and how they play. I don't worry about Arsenal. Never have, never win. I want them to go out with a bit of pride. If we lose tomorrow night and we've given it all, that's good for me.
Is going out with a bit of pride not already done and dusted when they drop points against Fulham, Newcastle, the worst Chelsea team ever, Wolves, teams like that? Because realistically, if they had more pride back then, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Exactly. I did agree with your point, Dave, on that. But look, it's happened. You can't change it. It's about who you're playing tomorrow. And it was all about winning tomorrow. It's our last home game. Look, we could draw tomorrow. That would suit all parties if it was a 1-1 draw, to be fair. It would suit me because we haven't gifted Arsenal the title. It suits Man City because they're level on points with Arsenal for one game to go. So I'd be happy with a boring 0-0 draw, to be fair. But no, look, it's about Jack is spot on. It's about pride. It is about pride, and I don't want to for us to beat them to give Arsenal the title. That wouldn't sit right with me. That would not sit right with me whatsoever. I know everyone wants Man City to win tomorrow, and I get that. I do get that, but I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm probably an old-fashioned. I'm probably an old-fashioned fan with an old-fashioned values, with old-fashioned way of thinking.
I'll be honest, Dermot. I'm going to cut you off here because I feel like you're holding back earlier on. So go full force. But I feel like you're holding back on us. Make your case.
Look, my case is I want us to go out tomorrow night and win. I want us to win 6 points at the end of the season. I don't give a shit about Arsenal. I don't give a shit what permutations it costs. That's nothing to do with me. All I care about is Tottenham winning 3 points. I want them to pick up 3 points. If Villa lose tonight, there's a chance of us getting Champions League football. If somebody offered you that at the end of last season, would you have taken it this season? Somebody said to you, Dave and Jack, there's Champions League football next season under a new manager. You would have ripped his arm off and eaten it like a...
Yeah, but the thing is...
but then if he told me that it meant that Arsenal won the title, it would have been like, what, are you cheating me out of this for? Like, when like you had an arm behind your back, you were lying to me. It was like a sneaky deal of some sort.
I don't get this. Yeah, I have been picking up the wrong strawberries, Paddy. You're probably right on that. Look, I don't get this. I just feel so strongly that I don't want us to lose tomorrow. I don't get this. Oh, we got to lose because it hands Arsenal time. I don't get that. I don't get it at all. I just don't get it. I think it's... I don't know. I just don't get it.
Well, Phil comes in here with a question here, Dermo. If the shoe was on the other foot, Dermot, would you want Arsenal to beat City for Spurs to win the league?
No. If the other foot, I'd be the same as I am now. I don't want any hands out help for anyone. I want us to win the league on our own, off our own back. So no, the answer, I'd be the same now saying the same thing now as I would if the foot was on the other foot. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and go, oh yeah, I would. No, I wouldn't. Because
last thing I have to say, sorry, I think my internet's all over the place.
No, you can, man. Look, I just want Tottenham to win and do well. I want the best for my club. Not for anyone else's club. I love my club. I love Tottenham. I'm a Spurs fan through and through. Look, we all want the best. We all want the best for Tottenham at the end of the day. Nobody's going to agree with everyone's opinions. This is my opinion. I respect my opinion, and I respect everybody else's opinion. Hopefully, they respect mine. But we all want Spurs to do well at the end of the day. We all Tottenham supporters. We all want us to achieve something. So, look,
I think some people are questioning what we actually achieve in this one. I think that's the point here, Dermot. It's 3 points, and what do the 3 points really mean other than just a number in this context? But 2J bringing this up, he says, if Villa lose or draw tonight, I'll want us to win 100% tomorrow. If Villa win and fourth is over for us, I will want City to win 100%. So he's in this dual state right now, 2J, until he finds out the result for tonight. Sounds like Dermatron, you're not. You're just 100%. You don't even care then about this game tonight between Villa or Liverpool very much. You just want Spurs to win.
I just want Spurs to win. Look, if we can get Champions League football, hey, brilliant. If we get Europa League football, brilliant. I just don't want us to go out on a whim. There's 2 games, and it just sadly it's falling on. We could help our rivals, nearest rivals, if you know what I mean. If we played this game early in the season, tomorrow's game wouldn't have mattered. We wouldn't be talking about if we beat this team, we'd be helping them lot out. It wouldn't be even in the conversation. It's just the way it's handed. If Arsenal would have lost yesterday, tomorrow's game wouldn't have mattered really as much because Man City are then they're on the cross of winning the Premier League. So it's an unpopular opinion to many people. It's not a right opinion. I'm talking out of my ass. So be it. But it's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. And I won't stand down. When I believe in something, I will stand by it. And I will stand over it. So that's my opinion.
I think it's a very valuable principle that you have there, Dermot. I just feel like, and forgive the pun, everybody in the chat, don't come after me here, but it does feel like a once in a blue moon situation here with Man City, where we do have an opportunity at the end of the season, and I do mean the very end of the season. There are 2 games left. It's not like 6 or 7 where it really, doesn't actually play a huge part in the grand scheme of things. I think when you have 2 games left, it's not even an elephant in the room. It's like 5 elephants in the room. You just can't ignore it. You have to look at the situation in front of you. If you hand them drop points to Arsenal, they will likely go on and win the league. We won't likely get much out of anything other than that, than just, that sort of banter and, kind of, I don't know, just, torment really from them. And I guarantee they're telling us right now, Dermot, they'll probably agree with you, Dermot. That's the funny thing. They'll agree with you. They'll be like, yeah, this guy's, speaking sense. But then the moment that they do win the title, Arsenal, they'll come back and shove it right in our face.
Yeah, and then what you do, stick 2 fingers up to them, tell them they're talking bullshit and walk away. You just don't listen to them.
Better man than me. Better man than me, Dermot. Dave, anything you would say to 2J here? He's in this dual state right now until the game reaches a conclusion.
Look, for me, Champions League was done a long time ago. We didn't pick up the results in some of the games that we should have. We're sitting here clutching onto straws. The reality is we need a touching hand from the Lord for it to go our way. For Villa to lose tonight and at the weekend. If they were in the Europa Conference League final, I would have said yes, you'd have a chance because a lot of their players would save themselves for that. But the fact that they don't and all they have left to play for is to qualify for the Champions League, let's not delude ourselves. They're going to do it on the last day of the season. So for me, I know we're going to finish 5th. I accepted that when we sort of got hammered by Newcastle. And look, I just don't want Arsenal winning the league, to be brutally honest with you. Their fans, look, when we were in the Champions League final, they're all over AFTV going, I would happily lose the Europa League final if it meant them scumbags and everything they were saying if they didn't win the Champions League final. So when the shoe was on the other foot, they were happy to go and sacrifice and stuff like that. Yeah. Look, I get what Dermot's saying. We're put in a position where either wrong, you're sort of, your morals, it's 50-50. It's sort of like, yes, morally you want the club to do well, but you also don't want them lot to have any joy whatsoever. And for me, I know we're going to finish 5th. My season's finished. I don't want to see them celebrate at the end of the season because you're going to hear it all season long. And when they come to our stadium next season, they're going to start singing, you handed us the title and stuff like that. Look, for me, they already clown on us as is. Everybody already hates us as is. We give Arsenal a leg up, it's going to get 10 times worse. We can sit here and say, just drown out the noise and everything else. But the reality is, Dermot, even yourself that says it, you're going to react to stuff that they say next year. You're going to react to Paul Merchant and stuff like that. So we do care.
Look, don't get me wrong. It's probably because I'm getting older. It doesn't I'm probably have a different view in it, like I did when I was your age, Dave. Do you know what I mean? And Jack, it would have bothered me then. And maybe as I'm getting older, I mean, I'm 3 years off being 50. Maybe I don't let things like that stress me out like it used to. Maybe there's more important things in life to worry about and care about than what them lot are doing down the road. Do you know, it does upset me. Don't get me wrong. I would give as good as I get. If an Arsenal fan came in, I'll tell him where he can go. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong just because I'm saying what I'm saying. I don't care. I do care. Dave and Jack both know how much I care, how much I'm passionate about my club. But maybe as I'm getting into my new 30s, as we say, maybe I'm just not letting that stress get to me as much as it used to. Maybe that's sort of the attitude I've taken now. So I don't know. Right or wrong, we all want Spurs to do well. And this is a decisive subject, a decisive matter. So you can't sit in the fence. You're either one way or the other. But let's all support the team and support Ange and the boys as we end the season. We've had a hell of a season, ups and downs. But by God, have we had one hell of a ride. And I can't wait for next season for it to come all over again because I'm well hell looking forward to it.
Well, Dermatron, I think you have done exactly what I had asked of you. You have created almost a perfect split, it looks like, in the chat between people saying that we are being unprofessional, ludicrous, fans for wanting us to lose, and plenty of people that are calling you ludicrous for even wanting Spurs to win tomorrow. So I think we have achieved the perfect happy medium here. But Dermot, please tell people about your lovely channel, THFC Till I Die. What's coming up over there, sir?
Yeah, we're having a bit of a revamp on the channel in the summer. We're getting a new logo, we're getting new shows. Tequila 316 has joined the channel as well. Carl's going to join, Simpson has joined in as well. So yeah, we've got whole new ideas coming up. The Unholy Trinity is coming back in the summer with myself, Philip and Dave, the most unholiest men in Ireland, where we're going to talk about every subject under the sun. And yeah, we've got the watch along tomorrow night. We've got post-match, pre-match, and a load of other stuff. But yeah, sorry I haven't been on for the last week. Have not been very well at all. Getting over this, but I will be back. But I had to come on tonight, as this was the last one before the end of the season. I want to say thanks to you guys for being great supportive over the year on the channel and great friends as well, brothers as well. Think an awful lot about you, so thank you.
Thank you, John. Very nice of you, sir.
I'm sure some would argue the bronchitis has clouded your judgment, but anyhow.
It has. It's the antibiotics, the steroids, and the strawberries. So they've all clouded my judgment.
I'm only ripping the piss, my man. Look, thank you very much for getting us kicked off, Dermo. Thank you very much, my man. And we'll see you again very soon, all right?
We'll see you then. Come on, you Spurs, and big Andrew trust.
Have a good one, man.
You too.
Everybody, please do get over, check out Dermot's channel as well at THFC Till I Die. He's a really good lad. He just loves the club. He may not see things the way some of us do in terms of this situation, but at the end of the day, he's a really good guy. Get over there, check him out, and check the channel out.
He's my guilty pleasure, like Alex Davies.
Yeah.
He's my guilty pleasure, Dermatron, with things like that. Well done to the Dermot. But big up everybody in the chat as well. Please, as always, people keep it respectful. He is just, expressing his opinion. But I did like that there were a lot of people that agreed with him that were kind of thinking that Dave and I are being insane, for being so staunchly on the other side. SOF, really appreciate the support, as well as 2J from earlier. And SOF says, if Levy showed in the past that he will give backing to a manager by getting Champions League, I would say, yes, let's win this. But we all know that won't happen. Levy will not back Ange this summer to compete for the Champions League and or the Premier League properly. So he's pointing out that problem we've had in the past where we haven't really had a quality enough and a deep enough squad to compete on two fronts or even three fronts when it comes to, achieving a cup run as well as, preserving our position in the league. Managers have felt like they needed to make a choice even between the two. And most of the time they are kind of beholden or, tied down to their results in the league. Dave, do you agree with SOF in his kind of evaluation that, Champions League is nice, but we're not going to be that serious if we go into the Champions League, whereas Europa League, we just stand a better chance because, that's where we're at. And that's also where our owner probably would, better prepare us for it if he were to prepare us at all.
Look, we say we stand a chance, but in reality, we don't. We had the Conference League. We didn't go too far in that. Jaws in the Europa League didn't go too far in that. It doesn't matter what European competition you're in. If you want to build a squad to challenge on all four fronts, you simply have to build a squad. Stop relying on players that have let you down in years gone by. Be more ruthless, ship them out, and let's get on with the new age. Look, even going into next season, it's going to be hard for us to compete on all four fronts, because regardless of what we do this summer, we're still going to be a work in progress, or still looking to shape that squad. We're still not going to have everything done. And that's why I keep suggesting turn to some of the under 21s next year to fill this squad out and stuff like that, and sort of really try and build a squad going forward, one that everyone can get behind. What we can't do, and I said it at the end of the summer last summer, we can sit here and argue about the likes of Ben Davies and stuff like that, but the reality is when it comes to rely on these guys, they're going to let us down and the season's going to tail off, and it's exactly what happened. So, we have to learn. We have to build a squad, because we can't keep going out of cups the first rounds like we do. It doesn't matter who we get drawn against, whether it's Premier League opposition or Championship opposition, we get knocked out. In Europe, we get out of the group stage to a certain degree. Then when it comes to going up against the better teams, we don't have the squad to compete. And the managers are always left in a choice where fans want us to go and compete for everything, but they also know they don't have the squad. And they almost have to choose trying to get top four for Daniel Levy or trying to get trophies for the fans. And regardless of what they pick, they end up losing out anyway. So, it's just about time we put a full squad together regardless. We want to challenge. Hopefully the board reciprocate that, and hopefully they can go and get as much as they can do to help push the Coglu heading into next season.
Yeah, in a sense, right? The Europa League and the Europa Conference League have embarrassed us in the past, even if it's technically worse opposition or not as high quality. We still have been plenty embarrassed, and that does mean then you can't underestimate it. You have to still prepare yourself properly for them. And SOF, I know where you're coming from, man. Where in the past, we've always been left, wanting, or always being felt like, there wasn't really enough done in how we expected it to be done after a summer window. And let's just hope it doesn't happen again here. But, we have had these conversations too many times. And he also says, we know the transfer budget will not change much between Champions League and Europa League this summer. I'm not sure if there really is a huge difference between the budgets, because I think Daniel Levy as well as Ange Postecoglou will set out their targets regardless of, what competition they finish in. Does that end up being a big difference between whether they can bring in an extra high quality player or not? Perhaps. But I do think that the targets would at least the list of targets would sort of remain the same, regardless of what competition they're in. Just depends on whether they actually go after, all of them at once, depending on which competition I guess they go for. But yeah, Dave, any other points that we can bring up before we bring on Brad?
Yeah, last point. I don't want to see any more repurposing of players at Tottenham Hotspur either. Buy a player for that position and that only. I'm sick of repurposing players. It doesn't work out. That's the last point. Big up SOF. I tried to remain calm today, but he set me off.
Well done to SOF today. But let's bring on Brad, man on the blue sofa, see what he has to say. How you doing, Brad?
Hello, guys. I'm going to try and remain as calm as possible.
Well, did Dermatron rile you up in any sense, or did you feel
like I agree with practically everything he said, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think, obviously we're going to talk about the Man City game tomorrow. So let me put a few caveats. I think that's the right word. One, I don't want Arsenal to win the league. Of course I don't want Arsenal to win the league. And the other thing is, if we lose tomorrow, I'm not going to be losing any sleep over it. Okay, so I just want to get those 2 points out there. Okay, straight away. Point. But I want to win tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, as Dermot was saying, I'm a Tottenham Hotspur fan. I want us to win every game. Now, people are saying that this game is so important for the title. So we beat City tomorrow, and then Arsenal beat Everton on Sunday, and Man City beat West Ham on Sunday. Arsenal win the title by 1 point. Okay? Do we all remember back in whenever it was, I think it might have been January, December, when we all we were all so pleased when we got a 3-3 draw at the Etihad with Man City. So Man City in that game dropped 2 points. The 2 points, if they'd have won that game, they'd be winning the title this weekend. So I don't remember anyone saying, let's lose to City at the Etihad. So I think it's kind of irrelevant, this talk about, we win tomorrow, Arsenal win the title because of us. It's irrelevant. Arsenal win the title over 38 games. Arsenal win the title because they drew at the Etihad and they beat Man City at home. This is why Arsenal are going to win. If Arsenal win, or even if Man City win the lot, it's over 38 games. Tomorrow's game is absolutely irrelevant as to who wins the title. And that's my opinion on it. I want Tottenham to win. We're trying to build a winning mentality here. And that should be the supporters as well. We want to win every single game we play. And I remember when we went up to Old Trafford and lost. I remember playing, I think, Man United at home and losing, which gave Man United the title, and Arsenal missed out on it. And I remember the press absolutely slaughtered us. They absolutely slaughtered us. I don't want that happening to my team. I don't want people saying, "Oh, Tottenham gave Arsenal the title by Tottenham didn't try. They didn't try by when they played Man City." I don't want to see that happening to my team. So that's why I think. Now, if any of the fans out there and Jack, David, yourself, if you want us to lose tomorrow night, fine. I've got no problem with that. That's entirely your prerogative. But what I don't want and I'm not saying from you guys, I've seen people on Twitter or X or whatever you call it saying, "Oh, if you don't want Tottenham to lose tomorrow, you're not a real Tottenham fan." That's garbage. I'm sorry, that's absolute garbage.
I agree with that. I think that always crosses the line with any situation, really, with Spurs, and whatever opinion you may have.
So if you want us to lose tomorrow, fine. That's up to you. That's really up to you. But I don't want us to lose tomorrow. As I said, I'm not going to lose any sleep if we do. But I want us to win every game. I want us to build a winning mentality at this club. And hi, Derek Hutchinson. Thank you for that. And the other thing I want to say before I forget about it is there's been a couple of things put on Twitter with Ange in the press conference. I would suggest to anyone to watch the whole 19-minute press conference. I was actually very impressed with Ange Postecoglou, as I am most press conferences, to be fair. But they put a clip up where he's saying something about you want some help to one of the journalists.
Yeah.
And let me. This is what it was. It was someone asked him the question that he'd done a straw poll of Tottenham fans, and he said 2 out of 4 wanted Tottenham to lose tomorrow, so 50%. And Ange said, "Oh, that's had a laugh about it." I think it was Jack Eccleston came on, and he said, or Eccleshaw, and he came on and he said, "Oh, well, going on by social media, 99% want Tottenham to lose tomorrow." And Ange says, "Well, if you rule your life by social media, you need help. You desperately need help." And it was a funny thing. It was a funny joke, but people have put it on Twitter tonight as this is Ange being, really stupid, blah, blah, blah. But it was all part of a joke. That's all it was. So I just wanted to get that point out there. But,
I think Dave had another point of just being like, what else is he supposed to say? Right, Brad? Like, is he supposed to say,
exactly.
yeah, no, we want to lose tomorrow? Like, what do they expect him to say?
Yeah, it's and he. I mean, people said, "Oh, why don't you just understand what the fans want?" Well, you're just saying, "Oh, some fans are split 50-50," and it's sort of like this sort of Schrodinger's game tomorrow that we're either in the Champions League, we're not in the Champions League. Look, it's an outside chance of us getting in Champions League. If Villa draw tonight against Liverpool, and that's a possibility, we can still win by winning the last 2 games, and they lose at Palace, and Palace are in good form. So it's not out of the question, but it is unlikely, put that way. And the other thing about this Arsenal winning the title, well, if we'd have been really serious about Arsenal winning the title, we'd have beaten them when we played them at Tottenham a couple of weeks ago. And then you wouldn't have any of this tomorrow.
Totally.
Yeah. So, let's not go on this tomorrow's game being such a big game. I think it's totally irrelevant tomorrow. I really do. And that's my opinion. If you've got other opinions, that's fine. You're entitled to that.
Well, Brad, honestly, I think you spoke very coherently, and I think a lot of people are actually agreeing with you once again in the chat. Looks like 2 for 2 on people that want us to win tomorrow. Did you have any other points?
Yeah, can I just say that a lot of people are coming on there and they say, "Oh, I won't be able to face the world if Arsenal win the title." Well, you know what? I found in years gone by, the best way of deflecting any sort of banter is to agree with them. So if someone comes, "Oh, Arsenal won the title," just say, "You know what? Yeah, you did. You deserved it. Well done." And that normally just deletes everything. That just stops them in their tracks. And they just as Dermot said, say that and just walk off. That's all you do. Just show a bit of metal out there. Just say, "Okay, fair enough. Well done." So what's this here?
It's a bit hard to do that when they're waving the Premier League trophy in your face, though.
Well, no, you just say, "Oh, well done." They've won it before, David. I've seen. I remember. I'm old enough to. We were going to go to Tottenham when they played Arsenal, and this is back in the days of goal average. If Tottenham drew their last game at home 1-1, Arsenal wouldn't win the title. If it was a 0-0 draw, Arsenal would win the title. We were going to go to the game, and we bumped into our neighbour walking down the road to get the bus. He said, "Don't even bother. You won't get in." And it was one of the biggest. They reckon there was 200,000 people turned up to try and get in. And the stadium only held 57,000. And you know what? Arsenal won the title with the goal 3 minutes from the end. So I've been there. I've experienced it. I was at the Tottenham when Arsenal, we drew 2-2 with Arsenal. Now, technically speaking, had already won the title. So don't let them tell that they won the title at Tottenham that year, because they didn't. They'd already won it. Because it would have been, I think Chelsea would have to have won by about 9 goals to stop them, which was never going to happen. So they'd already won the title. We've seen the Invincibles team back in whenever it was. I've seen us win the title. Let's show a bit of balls. Let's go out there and just face them. Say, well, there you go. Well done, mate. Enjoy it. And say, and this, be confident we'll be back next season and we'll be winning titles at some stage. Okay, it's we've got to have this. We've got to get this winning mentality, and that's what Angie's trying to do at the moment. And I think it's not only the team, it's the supporters as well. Just go out there and try and win stuff.
Brad, did you have any thoughts on the Burnley game before we kind of wrap things up with you?
Yeah, actually, the Burnley game, I thought we created more opportunities than we'd done in the last 4 games together. I just think our final decision making and our final ball and our final shot, whatever it was, that was the thing that we didn't do well on Saturday. But I thought the actual performance wasn't too bad. I think we actually, their keeper made 3 brilliant saves. In fact, I think he made one Gordon Banks style save from the header from Romero. So yeah, I thought it was a better performance. Yeah, okay, it's Burnley, so that is that. But I thought we saw some players like Maddison and Basuma starting to get a bit of form back. And also we had the lovely thing of 10, 15 minutes of Dane Scarlett coming on and everyone willing him to score. And it's a shame that he did actually get a chance and he just basically didn't do it very well, to be honest. But he came on, he was trying, and we all wanted him to score and that. But maybe next year, he just needs that first goal, and then he needs the ball to sort of come off his backside and go in. That first goal, and then I think he'll start flying, because I think Kane had a sort of ropey start when he started playing. So we all know what happened there. So and the other thing I'll say is, if we do finish 5th, which I think we need a point from our last 2 games, then I like Dermot. I think that's a very good for Angie's first season. Yeah, we've had some bad days. We've had bad performances, but we've had some really good ones, really good days and good performances. And I think in his first season, and I'm not holding my breath, but hopefully Daniel Levy and the board will back him in the summer. He's already keeps saying that he's making plans. They're already making plans for next season. And yeah, if we do get the Europa League, yeah, let's try and go and win it. And hopefully, Ange likes to win things. Hopefully he'll take it seriously, where managers in the past haven't. And I think our squad is a little bit better than what it was under the last 2 or 3 managers when we were in the Conference League. But yeah, so that's why I'd like to say that I'm looking forward to next season. I do hope we sign some decent players. Let's face it, we've got £500 million in revenue, so there should be some money there. So yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. I like Brad, honestly, very coherent the whole time. Very, speak a lot of sense. It's quite soothing.
Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel.
You're very calm. You exactly what you asked. You're very calm, very soothing.
If you want to see a 63-year-old try to write music and sing and play instruments, then that's your channel. I'm very proud of it, I have to say. I'm still 4 off of 200 subscribers. So how many are in the chat tonight? Well, there's enough to get another 4 subscribers. So.
Please, everybody, show this man some love.
Thanks to you guys. I'm sure I'm going to see you before the end of the season. Yeah. But thanks to these guys for giving me all that support and giving me a voice. I think it's probably the only channel I'm on these days, which is fine. But yeah, it's good, all good stuff, and we're all mates, and all got different opinions, but we're all mates, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, and we appreciate that about you, Brad, is that you kind of condone exactly what you just said there. In this community, we keep a good, friendly sort of, atmosphere around here. I think we like to have good back and forth, good debate, but we all like, have a good sort of a good line.
And by the way, if anyone's sort of, talking about tribalism and all that sort of thing, which I understand that, you should have heard me swearing under my breath when I watched Match of the Day after the Tottenham Arsenal game. I had my breakfast cereal and watching it on TV. I was giving it some, so don't get me wrong.
Well, big up, Brad. Good way to state your case, my man. Really enjoyed listening to that, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon, Brad.
Yes, guys. Have a good one. See you later.
Have a good night.
See you
soon, Brad.
Everything. Celebrate.
Come on,
Enjoy
you
everything.
Spurs.
Celebrate. He'll be celebrating tomorrow more than Dave and I will. We'll see
Yeah.
you, Brad.
Well,
Big up.
everyone, big up, Brad. Please get over, check out his channel. Like he said, by the way, it looks good for 63, by the way. But 63-year-old man, writing his own music, following his dream, and he's a Spurs fan. What more do you want? Get over there, smash that subscribe button.
I feel like also Brad and Dermot have really surprised me with, I think, getting the majority of the chat to sort of start to agree with them. I think at first it was maybe a bit more leaning towards people wanting them to lose tomorrow. And now I think, they've done a fine job in convincing a lot of people in the chat, or at least getting them to reason with Brad and Dermot a bit more. So well done to you both. And then SOF here, might as well give this to our next caller. I think Mia is afterwards, and I know she would have a good opinion on this. But SOF, we did have a question for this actually in our fan show, kind of a question document as well. That's some of the other news that Dave and I saw about today. But should we bring on Mia? Ask her what she thinks, Dave?
Yeah,
Alrighty.
let's go.
All right, Mia.
Oh,
how are you?
Good evening, Mia.
I'm okay. I've been practicing my Blue Moon. Been singing along all day, making sure that I'm ready.
Is it where you'd like to start, or would you care to help SOF here with the striker kind of comment?
Yeah, we can talk about the striker because obviously everyone's come in and straight away spoken about the game against City. So why not be a bit different? Joe, with the strikers that have been linked to, it's very difficult because the problem we've got is that everyone's going to look to Harry Kane and go, we need a Harry Kane replacement, but you can't replace Harry Kane, not unless you're going to replace him with Harry Kane. So the problem you've got is that everyone's going to be somewhat compared to Harry Kane, which I think is difficult. We have to look at this as an individual basis. For me, I don't think that Tony is suitable. I don't know. I think that some of the things that he said outside of football about his club shows that he's not like, I don't know, he hasn't got that, not loyalty, but that thing with a club where he feels like he should be a bit respectful. And see what happened with Jaguson's agent. He don't shut his gob, he just yabbers all the time. You don't really want a Tony coming out and speaking about Tottenham in like a negative way. Like, I just think he's got that about him. Fair so point. I'm not that keen on Tony. I'm going to be honest. I just don't think he's got that right attitude. Jimenez looks like a good option. I think that he could offer something a bit different as well. Like there's so many options. We've also, don't forget, we still have got Felice. So it could be a case of we bring back Felice and we have one more. But like I say, I'm not sold on any of them quite, but I'm sure that Ange will pick someone good, and I can't see it being Tony. I really can't personally.
Do you know what? Just quickly, I'd actually really like Tony. I think he's an exceptional footballer. I think he set pieces, penalties, corners. He's
no doubt
play with his back to go. Look, I think he does all aspects of the game very, very well. But I actually do understand what you're saying when you make the point. For me, I think it's I think he's a bit bitter towards football right now, especially with the ban that happened. I feel like he feels it was unjust. And I feel like, he feels very bitter towards the game now and probably has changed his mind, on football in general. And I actually do hear what you're saying. I do think that is a concern people might need to weigh up when they're maybe looking at Ivan Toney. How focused is he? Does he want to be at his best and stuff like that? But I will not deny, I think there's one hell of a footballer there.
Listen, I don't deny that he's a great footballer, to be honest with you, Dave. That's not really where I'm at with it. It's more the other side of him that I'm not entirely sure that would fit in.
What if I did question a bit of the footballer and, decide to go a bit crazy here? With Tony, I have heard, Mia, that some people would say, yes, he's got the hold-up play. Yes, he has the, the ball retention, all the things that you would need. But some people have said he's not the most willing of pressers, like not the most willing of guys to work hard off of the ball. I can't deny or agree with that. I mean, what do you make of that? Maybe he wouldn't be as relentless in the press as Richarlison or Sonny might be.
He might not be. No, it depends if Joe. What
is that important? Do you think is that like an important factor?
I do think that is an important factor because we've seen when Richie does come on, what he does offer is that press. Like he does get up in their faces, and he is very committed to doing the press. But I feel like any striker that's going to come in, Jack, I think that will be something that Ange will talk to them about in the way that we play. And if he's not committed to that, then Ange, I don't think will buy him. If that's not what he's best, if he doesn't want to do it, then that shows he's unwilling to come and play how Ange wants to play, right? So
No,
I
agree.
think to me that would be something he'd either have to want to do when he comes to Tottenham, or he don't come to Tottenham.
Because surely that's an important part, Dave, right? Is how willing they are to press off the ball, where some players do prefer just counterattacking and kind of, just picking their moments like maybe he does with Brentford. Maybe he kind of prefers that kind of style.
Look, the majority of footballers would rather play an attacking sort of system, and I think they also have to shake hands with playing that style now that most managers will want you to press out of possession as well. And I do take your point. Harry Kane, for instance, is he a guy that really wants to do that relentless press all the time, or can he handle it for full 90 minutes without really draining the tank? Some guys are at a level where they sort of see themselves as, I don't want to press, I'll save all and conserve all my energy for when I'm on the ball, which I can understand when they're at that level. But the market that we're going to be shopping in, it has to come with it. It has to be part and parcel. We can't have anyone coming here with an ego when we're not paying that money for 4 players with that sort of egos. For me, when I actually look at it, I think a lot of strikers will want to come in here and play in the Ange system, because we spend a lot of time in the opposition third. I actually look at it a bit differently, Jack. We spend so much time in the opposition third. That's where they want to play. When they play that counter-attacking style, it's actually a lot harder for them to, drag the team up the pitch, and that's their sort of job. So I think most players will want to play in this system. It's just how much money are we going to spend to be able to bring in the right quality that we actually need.
Mm-hmm. And Mia as well, when it looks like the list is Tony, Solanke, I think Gurkarash as well, that guy Garasi we spoke about a long time ago, Jimenez. Did you have any preference, or is it kind of just characteristics that you're looking for?
I don't know, because they've all got they're all slightly different. Garasi is like a little bit older. Solanke, I'm not sure about. I'm not really, like I say, particularly sold on any of them. Probably Jimenez is probably the closest I would say to what I would like. I think he's good. I think that he's probably the most suited, I would say, to how we. Obviously Isak. If we could get him from Newcastle, I would bite your arm off for Isak, because I think he is perfect for what we want. He would be very, very suitable in Tottenham and how Ange plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Mia, just so that we keep things moving, I know you probably have some opinions about Man City tomorrow. So I'm guessing you disagree with what Brad and Dermot.
I disagree with Brad and with Dermot. I don't want Tottenham to lose so much as I want Man City to win. Now, if they win, am I going to cry about it? No, I'm not going to cry about it. Am I going to go on my channel and be like, oh my God, we lost against Man City? No, I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be devastated. Am I going to be a bit more like a little bit under my breath, like, come on, City, maybe a little bit, because I'll tell you one thing, and I understand people's point of view, and I respect everybody's point of view. No fan is not a fan because of that opinion either way, right? So let me just put it out there, because I just saw someone say, you don't deserve to celebrate trophies if you want us to lose. Listen, every fan has got a right to respectfully have their opinion, and I don't like this finger pointing that's going on. It's silly, and it's just like, honestly, we all got our opinions.
Yeah.
But me, when I was teaching my children, one of the first things I taught them is, who do we love? Tottenham. Who do we hate? Arsenal. It's in my blood to hate them as much as I love Tottenham. So for me, every time they've won, when they've won on our ground, on our turf, when they've been up there and they've won stuff and we haven't, all they do is take the utter mick out of us, right? I don't want to help them. I would rather not ever help them. I'd rather chop my arms off and eat them than help them, because that is how much I dislike them. And maybe it's because I'm a bit feisty with it, and I have got that thing in me for the rivalry. Some people say they don't understand how I can hate that team that much. But that's what it is, because like I say, the thing we learn is, who do we love? Tottenham. Who do we hate? Arsenal. That's in me, and that's embedded in me. So I cannot allow them to win it. I just can't. I just can't. No part of me wants them to win. And for us to help them do that, hell no, absolutely not. Absolutely not, man. Like, there's this fire in me. When I talk about Arsenal, I have Arsenal Tourette's, because every time I speak about them, I feel like I need to swear because that's how much I absolutely hate them. Ask my children. If I mention that name, I end up swearing. I can't say their
Start
name
breaking
without
your
a
own
swear
rules in
word.
the swear jar in the house.
Yeah, like honestly, I'm being good here because if I say their name too many times, it makes me want to swear because all I think of is, oh my God, I can't stand you. No, like no, I just can't. And that passion in me, that fire in me cannot be extinguished about how much I dislike them. So I know that some people say that maybe I'm not a true fan because I want us to lose, but like Brad, love should conquer hate. Listen, I'm sorry, that's the one thing, right? I don't really hate. I'm not a horrible, hateful person. I always think to myself, I like to give out. I get what you give out, you get back in the world. And I do truly believe that. But when it comes to them scumbags, absolutely not. That's the one thing that in my life I will say that I actually dislike and I got disdain for. And I do hate them. And I'm sorry, but that is just truly how I feel.
Your blood, makes your blood curdle. Yeah,
it makes my blood boil. Like I get that feed. Like even talking about it, Jack, gets me riled up to a point where I'm just like, because I don't like talking about them. Like, and when we go to the game, and when you see them, and I walked down the high road on the North London Derby, I saw one of them with their shirt, and they quickly put their collar up, and I was like, yeah, you better be hiding. Like walking down the high road. Who the hell do you think you are walking down my high road? Like that's how I feel when I go to the games. Like I've got that thing in me that I just want to beat them at all costs. Like it doesn't. I just want to beat them, and when we don't, it hurts. Like it really hurts. Like nothing else hurts in the when we lose against other teams, we can lose 6-0, and it wouldn't hurt as much as when we lose to them. Like that's how that feels to me. And yeah, like I say, not everyone is different, and I respect everybody's opinion, but I don't like the fact that this silliness with a finger point with it, because everyone's entitled to their opinion. Dermot and Brad are entitled to their opinion, but I strongly disagree. Blue moon forever.
What I think we're actually seeing here is really how you really embrace tribalism and rivalry.
Yeah.
If you're not really too fussed about it, I can understand the other point of view. But if you are, if it's in you, like my first book that my old lad ever gave me was on the North London Derby. Go and study up on that, know everything that you need to know if you want to be a proper Spurs fan. And it's sort of like, that for me, I embrace that rivalry to its core. I genuinely hate them. And I know people say hate is a strong word and stuff like that, but for me, I don't like in modern football, they're trying to stamp out this sort of rivalry and stuff like that. And for me, football is nothing without it. I actually like it and I embrace it in its core. And I think that's where the sort of level of the argument is coming from, how strongly people actually embrace it.
Yeah, the thing is, right, I taught my boys why we hate Sol Campbell. I teach them that they're from Woolwich, not North London, from when they were little, because they need to know the history of why we have got this thing against them. Even going back to when they cheated to get into the league because they did a few brown envelopes. That kind of thing, right? I know it's years ago, but them things are important to the rivalry that we have with them. So for me, I've taught my children from the get-go why we absolutely hate them scumbags. Like even when I write their name, I can't even in the back room when I'm doing my stuff on my StreamYard, I don't even write their name. I write scumbags. I don't write their name, but I do obviously when I'm doing my thumbnails because you have to. But if you even see my thumbnails, I cross out the Arsenal badge every single time. I will cross it out. I will not have it on my thumbnail without it being crossed out, because that is how strongly I feel about them. I just won't have their badge unless it's crossed out, because I can't do it. I can't put it on my thumbnails. It makes me sick.
Thank you very much for giving the other point of view. That's 2-1. Let's see. We'll tally this up as we go along and see how it finishes. But, a really strong case there, me, and fair play to you. A lot of people agree, some disagree, but I think we're going to get this all night long. It was the same with Brad and that.
If people disagree, like I say, I respect that everyone has that disagreement. But what I will say is we play in the colour of angels and they play in the colour of devils. Just think about that. We play in white because we're pure and wonderful, and they play in red because they're an utter disgrace and they belong down below.
Fair point. Well, Mia, what's coming up on the channel, my dear?
I will be doing a members show on Wednesday, reviewing the show, and I will obviously be speaking about it. So let's see what happens in that match, to see if we manage to do what I want us to do. Fingers crossed. I'm praying to the football gods a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I've been having to do a lot of that recently, Mia, it feels like, and we'll probably continue to do that into the rest of Sunday, and then after that we can relax, get onto the beach ourselves, and
that's it.
Go into the next.
Once we only need 1 point to get Europa. I want Europa because I don't think we're ready for Champions League. So for me, I'm happy to get Europa. I'm not bothered about having Champions League, in my opinion. So to me now, it doesn't matter. 1 point is all we need, and we get that from the last game. And then with City, I'm going to put Doris the Tea Lady in goal. I'm going to put Vicario up front. I'm going to play on the wing. Ellie's going to play as well in the midfield. I'm getting the team together.
You're not putting in Dave in there because too good of a chance to win if Dave is probably playing, you think?
Yeah, we want players that are not. Listen, I'm no good, so I'll just let them walk past me. Do you know what I'm saying? The only thing I'd like to do is after, as long as like I get to meet Romero afterwards, then I'm all good.
I love it. I wouldn't mind meeting Romero either. I think I'll give you a run for your money there. But Mia,
that'll be hard.
I actually went to the game as well this weekend. So when I see him in real life, every time I see him in real life, that's all I can say. So lovely.
Dreamy. Big up, Mia. Great call.
Yeah, great call.
Big up. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
We'll speak soon.
Speak soon. Definitely. Have a good rest of your evening, Mia. We'll speak to you later. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Please, everybody, do check out Spurs Between the Lines. Lovely, lovely, lovely argument from Mia there. I'd say similar to Brad's in that it was very calm, very soothing, but also, really laid out the points there throughout. And you just sort of sat back and nodded your head. What were you going to say, Dave? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that's Mia from Spurs Between the Lines. Get over, check her out. A very good point. I love the passion that she came with the rivalry and stuff like that, explaining the other side. So fair play to me on that one. We've got this from Paul Mark. He says, why the F would we want to win tomorrow and give those Woolwich bankers the title? Well, look, why don't we bring on the next guest and let's ask them, Jack.
Yeah, might as well. We gave our points, Paul, in the pre-match show as well, or in the preview for all of the members. We've definitely laid out our points, but might as well just keep it rolling here and see what else people have to say. It's what you're going to have to talk about no matter what. Who's next? I think it's Allan. See what Allan has to say.
Team Tottenham, go. Let's hear what he has to say. Allan, first of all,
how are you? Guys. Good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not too bad at all, my man. Not too bad. Keeping well. Paul, let's kick it off straight away, though. Paul Markey here says, why the F would we want to win tomorrow and give those Woolwich bankers the title?
Well, I was watching We Are Tottenham TV, and according to them, Dave, you're supposed to be right back tomorrow.
I am right back. Don't worry about that.
Look,
a question now. Did they put me in there because they think I won't be able to track back because I'm a bit overweight or not? If really they should have put me up front.
I thought we hate repurposing players. I thought we hated repurposing players, Dave. So that seems wrong. I thought it was midfield was your position. I thought it was midfield. Allan, what do you say to Paul here? I mean, he's incensed. He can't even believe that people would want us to win tomorrow.
Look, I love our fan base. I love how passionate they are, regardless of whether they agree with one another or not. But for me, as a fan who doesn't have Arsenal fans surrounding them, I don't have people who will be in my face about it if we win, which is a big if, because look, I would love it if we could just push a button and it's we win, or choose to not push the button and we lose. It's not so cut and dry. I mean, if we play against City like we played against Burnley, they're going to murder us, regardless of what we may want. So, and if we play the way we played against Arsenal, maybe in the final half against Arsenal, it would be good. If we could play well tomorrow and we wind up winning, I'll be thrilled. I really would. I want us to win. I like a winning mentality, and I think the winning mentality is what Ange is going to be preaching to the team for tomorrow. Is to win. I don't think he's going to say go light on these guys so that Arsenal has no chance of winning. I just don't see that happening. So I would rather us win, go all out, win, beat City, beat Sheffield, go out on a high. And if the chips fall where they may and Arsenal wind up winning the league, it's not just, as Brad was saying, it's not because we necessarily did what we did. They had 38 games to do what they did, and then they'll win because of that, not because of us. And if anything, it would be a feather in our cap. But again, that's as someone that doesn't have Arsenal fans surrounding them, I could laugh at Arsenal fans and say, well, you only won because of us. So, sucks for you guys that you have to thank us for that. But yeah, but I'm on, sort of in Brad and Dermot's corner and saying that I would rather us win than purposefully throw the game. But again, if only it could be that simple. We're not going to purposefully throw the game. Ange would never let us do that. We still have to show up on the day, and if we can win, we should be definitely losing. Well, we may definitely lose. City may very well destroy us tomorrow, because of how well they've been playing, and conversely, how poor we've been. So I'm just, I appreciate the banter back and forth, but I figure the winning mentality is where it needs to be, because if we just throw in the towel, it seems like we could lose not only to Man City, but we could even lose to Sheffield if we're not careful. Sheffield has nothing to play for. So they have the only reason they have to be out there is pride. And, so I just want us to have pride tomorrow.
Well, Tin Man 007 here, Allan says, I'm going to be fully Ange out if we don't lose tomorrow. I tweeted even today saying I'd be Ange out if Chirpy isn't in the starting 11 tomorrow in any fashion. So a lot of pressure on Big Ange here. Maybe what do you make of people's such kind of firm-heartedness in this? Like, they are just willing to toss out all sense of winning, all sense of pride, all those things that you hold so dear. People are willing to throw that all out for the sake of rivalry, for the sake of tribalism.
I think maybe some of it is regional. Again, I am not in a place where I'm surrounded by Arsenal fans.
Oh, that's
I'm in a place surrounded by, Raiders fans or Dodgers fans and whatnot. So it's completely different sports. So if Arsenal won the league, I wouldn't have anyone saying anything to me. So I have the luxury of just standing back and supporting my Spurs. But Ange out, no. It can't be Ange out just because we lose tomorrow. If we don't lose tomorrow. I mean, again, we may very well lose tomorrow. Let's not underestimate City here. I appreciate that, they want us to win, and they want us to lose on purpose, but let's not undercut how good City is. Foden's been on fire. The team has been on fire. Aside from getting knocked out of the Champions League, they've been, the best. Sometimes, right now they're the second best, but they've been an amazing team, just as they generally always are. And let's not forget, we're the team that they, for some reason, choke when they play us. They choke. And they're in our house tomorrow. So I would really love it if we kept that going. I don't want to lose I would question anybody if they want to throw in the towel just to spite their rival. I mean, let's not cut off our nose to spite our face. We should be mentally wanting to win the whole time. We need to back Ange, of course. I see they say Ange won't care about Arsenal winning the league. Exactly right. Ange isn't going to care who wins. The only thing he cares about is that it's Spurs. And if it's not Spurs, he couldn't care less who it is, because he just wants to win. And that's why we need to support Ange. in the summer transfer window, which is this whole other subject.
Dave, were you about to say something there? Because I feel like without Ben, this is something you kind of spoke about on the match preview with me for the members, right? Where you felt a bit annoyed that even Ange was asked about this sort of thing. I mean, Allan, right? Like, it's okay that us fans get to have this conversation between ourselves. Like, we get to live in this sort of magical world of ours where we don't have any real impact on it. But the fact that Ange was asked about it, like about him intentionally losing a game, he seemed pretty upset by that and annoyed by that. Do you think that it is a little silly to ask a professional, in his case, to ask him to lose a game? That does seem a little crazy to do as a journalist.
It's clickbaity. It just seems like that's what the journalist was doing it for the hits, because that's a ridiculous thing to ask a coach. Of course the coach is going to want to win. There's no reason at all why the coach would want to throw in the towel. I don't see Ange. Again, well, Ange is not from that area. He's only inherited the team for less than a year. I don't see why he would suddenly take on that hatred of Arsenal, like the people that like Mia or whatever, who it's in their blood, or you say handed this book on the North London Derby and learn everything about it. I don't think that's Ange, at least not yet. He'll get there, but I don't see that to be Ange just yet. But it's a ridiculous question. What do you think, Dave?
Look, first of all, I think it was a dumb question to ask. I don't understand. Like, these guys are Spurs fans as well, asking these questions. I don't understand why they're putting someone like Ange Postecoglou in such a stupid sort of situation like that. Actually, I do know why, because they know it'll be clipped up and it'll go everywhere and it'll be a talking point for a few days. That's why. I mean, did they actually expect Ange to come out and say, yeah, we're going to throw the game, mate? I mean, obviously, it's just so dumb. But look, being brutally honest, I don't expect Ange to, understand the rivalry. Don't get me wrong. He's managed Celtic and Rangers, and I think he understands rivalry in football. But I don't expect him to have the same opinion as me, who's been a Spurs fan for 30-odd years. And my first book was on Spurs, was the North London Derby. I don't expect him to have the same hatred as me. I don't expect after the squad to have the same hatred at me, because they're not invested into the club the way I am, so I don't expect it. But for me, I'll be brutally honest, I just don't want them winning the Premier League title. We will never hear the end of it. And I don't think a lot of people are saying it's a loser mentality. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Someone like me who, knows what the rivalry is about. Let's not forget how much they hate us. When the shoe's on the other foot, they're happy to throw their games in order to affect us. When we were going for the Premier League title, everyone wanted us to lose it. And I think fans forget this, rivalry exists in football. No matter how much people want to try and dismiss it, it exists, and it does affect you. We all sit there going, we want to be like Arsenal, we want to be like Chelsea, which I get, to a certain degree. We want to put trophies in the cabinet, but do you really want to give them a leg up? And it is giving them a leg up. I get the point that Brad made earlier on when it comes to oh, well, we took a point off them earlier on in the season. Why didn't we have the same attitude back then? But back then, we were in the mix ourselves. We still had stuff to play for. Right now, we don't. And right now, with it being 2 games to go, if we do beat Man City or take a point off them, it is giving Arsenal exactly a leg up heading into the last game of the season. And I'm sorry, I know some people say you're not a Spurs fan if you want Tottenham to lose. Everyone knows me. I don't want Tottenham to lose ever. I don't even want to be in this situation. I'm actually gutted that we're being put into this situation. But also, if my season's going to be shit, I damn well want to make sure Arsenal's a shit with it. And that's just
bring him down with you. Bring him down with you.
But I'm a petty football fan. I embrace all the pettiness and everything else. Yeah, we can sit here and say all the buzzwords. Let's focus on ourselves and everything else. But where's the same attitude from the players and managers when we were being beaten by Wolves, dropping points to Fulham, dropping points to Newcastle? It's typical Tottenham trying to leave everything to the last minute. We could have avoided this situation by doing our job earlier on in the season, and we didn't get it done. Kulusevski can come out and say what he wants. Maddison can come out and say what he wants. Where were you when it fucking mattered?
Love it, Dave. Love it, Dave.
Yeah, love that passion.
Love it, Dave. Mia W. She's been memorizing the Blue Moon song for 19 months now. Getting ready for this day. Appreciate your support for these months, Mia. And I actually haven't even taken a look at the lyrics yet to start practicing, but it looks like Dave and I might be doing that. And the pettiness is in our heart. I think with Mia, it's just like with Dave, pure passion, just in the blood. But for me, I just enjoy being a petty person, especially when it comes to any sort of rivalry of any kind. Big up to you, Mia. But unless you had any other sort of points, Allan, before we let you go, did you have anything that you wanted to say about the Burnley game, or maybe any sort of other topics on Spurs?
I mean, the Burnley game, we didn't play. I don't think I watched the whole entire game, and aside from Pedro Porro scoring and Van de Ven scoring, we didn't play a good game. I mean, I think the only other thing aside from the 2 goals that was positive was seeing Dragishin come into the center, moving Van de Ven over into the left, and having Porro on the right and having Romero there in the center as well. I think that looked really good. I think Bentancur looked better, and I liked Dane Scarlett up front. I really did. I think that he should be given another chance. I think that team that the group that was at the end of the Burnley game should start against City. I think Højbjerg or Bentancur probably start because Basum is injured. He's out for the rest of the season. Is Richie out for the rest of the season, or is he just out?
Yeah, Richie's out for the rest of the season as well. He's not going to be available.
Yeah. So I think we should get Dane Scarlett in there. I mean, I saw Donnelly, although, again, they brought up a great point not too long ago about the under-21s, that we don't want to weaken our under-21s. They're still in it. They just won against Liverpool, so they're still in it to win it. But Jamie Donnelly, I think, deserves an opportunity. What a goal he scored the other day.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to Burnley, if we play the way against City, the way we played against Burnley, we are going to lose regardless of whether you want us to win or not. So if we want to beat City, we really have to show up on the day. Yeah. And I don't know that we have that in it. We haven't shown it for many games. We've been on the beach. We haven't shown that we have that killer instinct yet.
Yeah.
We're pretty good at coming back. But I just don't. I want us to win. I want us to win every game. I don't know that we're going to be able to beat City, though. Regardless of what that means for Arsenal, I just don't think we're going to be able to beat City.
Look, it's going to be a tall ask either way. But what I will say is we do tend to, whatever it is, it's just in football, bogey games exist. For instance, like it doesn't matter what form City are on, what form or Tottenham are on. Tottenham seem to make it difficult for City. We'll see what happens.
I would love that. Absolutely. I would love to see us. Look, I'd love it. Sonny on the left, Sonny scoring. I would love to see Sonny score more goals. I would love to see Dane Scarlett put one in the net. Hell, I'd love to see Dragishin join in on the fun along with Porro and Romero and Van de Ven and score a goal. Look, because it seems like our back line are the ones that score goals now.
They're the only ones scoring goals at this moment in time, and thank God for them. Thank God for them. But look out, what's going on over here at Team Tottenham Go, my man?
So we're wrapping up on this week in Tottenham Hotspur history. And then once the summer window starts, it's going to be weekly about sometimes even daily about the transfers, the rumors and whatnot, and what people think of I'll probably hit up you guys to talk to you guys a bit about what you guys feel about the transfer window and whatnot, and some other channels as well, hopefully. So as it wraps up, this will be my first summer, so I'm excited to feel what the summer is like.
It's chaos. There's rumors coming out left, right, center. Honestly, you could be in the middle of having a 3-course meal with your missus. Next thing, Spurs have signed somebody, and you have to abandon it and go home. It's absolutely chaos. But guys, please do get over and check out Team Tottenham Go. It's a new channel on the block. Be a part of it. Get over and smash that subscribe button. Really enjoyed this conversation. I really appreciate you giving up your time and coming on, my man.
Oh,
And,
my pleasure.
Let's wait and see what happens tomorrow, eh?
Yes, sounds good. Come on, you Spurs. Regardless of anything, come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
Nice
you
one,
Spurs.
Allan.
And just let myself and Jack know when you need us, and we'll be there. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
Allan,
you.
are you in the group chat, by the way? We could get your numbers. You could email us, by the way, and we can get your number.
I've got it.
Okay, if Dave has your
Yeah,
number,
Dave
that'd
has
be
it.
great.
Yeah, I'm not in the group chat. Yeah, definitely add me to the group chat if you guys would like.
We'll get you in
Awesome.
there. All righty. Appreciate you, Allan. Have a
Sounds
good
great.
rest of your day, sir.
Thanks, guys. Take
Have
it
a good
easy.
one, man. Take it easy. Jeez, that weather looks good where he is. I
know.
wonder I should have asked
His
him is there another
backdrops.
barbecue.
He's in Massachusetts, California. No matter where he goes, it looks nice. It's very true there, Dave. Please, everybody, go support Team Tottenham. Go. Great guy, Allan is. And it looks like 3-1, Dave, for people who want us to win tomorrow. He's pushed the tide, hasn't he, here? But we have some more super chats. Al Ben as well from earlier. I know we kind of did sort of touch on it, but yeah, if you at all caught our preview, you would really get, I think, a good opinion from Dave on sort of agreeing with you there. I think he had a lot to say about that, Dave, when it comes to just sort of, yeah, like Ange's opinion on the whole thing. I think that's very well said. Is it the big D that I have next after this? He says, if Liverpool win tonight, I'd still want us to lose against City. No trophy for top four, but I'd rather contribute to Arsenal bottling a third season in a row. That's how I feel about it as well, the big D. I'd get much more happiness and much more, just, peace of mind, really, just knowing that we could at least ensure that they're not going to grab that title. And then also too, like Champions League, for us Spurs fans, might sound kind of spoiled or something, but we actually have had Champions League more often than, of course, Aston Villa or even teams like Arsenal have. In the last 10 years, we've achieved Champions League more times than they have. So it's not really as much of an allure, as much of a, an enticing kind of option for me. Like I could go a year. This is getting so level of petty, Dave, but like I could go a year without, a Champions League if it all means that they're not going to win the title this one. I mean, I'll go to those sort of levels, the big D. I really will. I mean, Champions League, it's not that attractive to me as it once was.
Look, I wanted to be in the Champions League. Look, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the Champions League. I love the appeal of it, the allure of it, especially when you get to the later stages. It's the big boys in Europe all fighting that out. I love it. But the reality is we bottled it. We bottled it against teams we should never have dropped points against, and that's when it was bottled. It's not going to be bottled tomorrow. We bottled it ages ago when we had a good run of games. We all know we had a tough run of games coming up at the end of the season when the fixture lists were first revealed. We all knew we had this sort of run coming up. We knew we had to put points in the bank before then. We didn't do it. What I will say is, if Man City do beat us tomorrow night and they go and win the title, I'll be the first one on Twitter to all the Arsenal fans going, that draw we took off you at the Emirates that we don't usually get, stop you from the win the league, and I'm going to twist it and have fun with it. Look, at the end of the day, like I said, Jack, my season's over. I've nothing left to play for. I know I'm going to be in Europa League next season. I do have I will be going to Bilbao if we get to the final. And I just don't want Arsenal to have any joy. If I can't have fun, they're not having fun. It's that simple.
And also, if Dave does get to go to Bilbao, he just would have a cultural exploration of food. We'll just get Dave's palate up, up by 1,000 if he gets to go to the Basque region. Jason Bell had one before this, but I just figured since the Big D was following up, appreciate your support, the Big D. He says, imagine decades from now, the time Spurs helped them. That was the point that I had made actually in the preview to the members was, I wasn't even really, I think I was in diapers practically the time that they had won it, in our ground, the Arsenal did. And it feels like a similar scenario here where them winning, the title, them winning it at our ground, it feels like very similar to this situation, us handing them the title if we were to pick up points against Man City. You just can't really stomach it for me, the Big D. And also doesn't really happen that often that you really have a direct say, that you really have a direct hand in the, deciding of a title for your biggest rival. I just don't think it happens very often. Feels like I said, forgive the horrible pun, but it feels like once in a blue moon sort of situation here. And I just think we have to do the right thing, swallow whatever pride, that we have and get rid of that pride and, end up losing tomorrow. So the Big D, I'm in the same boat as you. I just can't handle the torture. Even as a Yank, it's kind of easy, I think, for the Yanks. We don't get as much torment from our rival fans, but I actually live right next to the official Arsenal supporters club in Brooklyn. So I really don't think I could handle it for handing it over to them. Jason Bell, member for 32 months. Jason, one of the Mount Rushmores of this channel for sure, Jason. Really appreciate you, sir. And he says, I want us to win tomorrow and for Woolwich to absolutely bottle it on Sunday. We're not going to win, though. City are worlds better than us. This is kind of the more balanced view, you could say, Dave, of it all, where it's like, in principle, Jason wants us to win. It's just that he doesn't expect anything because he knows Man City are a very, very good team, and Spurs have not been a very good team of recent. So maybe we don't need to get that worked up because there is a very likely result that City do just get the job done.
Look, it's business end of the season. I mean, this is what the whole City model is built around. When you come this end of the season, you're fully on it. You don't drop points. You're fully focused on the task in hand. And this is every single year with them. They are a world-class outfit. However, we make it difficult for them. They never spank us. You know, it's always sort of edgy and stuff like that. And that's the thing. In football, you do have bogey teams. We have bogey teams. You know, Chelsea away every single year. You know, you're not going to get a result there no matter how crap they are. Stuff like that. You just have bogey games. And we are Man City's bogey game, unfortunately. And I think that's where a lot of the Arsenal fans are sort of getting excited. Look, of course, I would love Arsenal to bottle it on Sunday. They're playing a team that's already relegated. They're playing a team that's already bet relegation. You know, they're on the beach. They're just rolling out there, going through the motions, and then heading off to Dubai straight after out of Heathrow Airport or something like that. You know, they're not going to bottle it. You know, if they didn't bottle that Man United away, which traditionally, you know, they usually find a hard game, no matter how bad United have been. They got over the line. They will get over the line Sunday. They will.
And Jason Bell, just wanted to say to you, and I believe Ribsy, so many others that have been celebrating these really, really long memberships. I just, nearly 3 years with you guys. Just massive, massive support.
Yeah, it's
really
mad.
do appreciate
Big
you,
up,
sir.
Jason.
Let me know if there's any. I bet there aren't too many, Arsenal bars near you that you have to deal with like I do. Al Ben says the taunting would get ridiculous to live with. I think Dave and I feel the same.
Too much.
And they're also asking us, right? These Arsenal fans, all of a sudden they're saying, oh, Spurs, they need to develop a winning mentality. Spurs fans, they need to get a backbone for this game. They're saying all this now so that we do win the game. And then once we do that, they're going to shove it right back in our face. They're tempting us to try to win this. They're tempting us to want to get over the line so that they can just embarrass us and mock us further. That's how I see it, Al. Call it crazy, but they're just going to shove it right back in their face. They're not going to be rewarding us for winning the game or anything like that. Believe me.
But there seems to be this narrative that if we beat City tomorrow, all of a sudden we're going to have a winning mentality. It's not built over one game. Winning mentality is built over the course of a season, picking up trophies, winning games back to back, putting consecutive wins on a bounce, building towards some. That's how you build a winning mentality, not just over one game.
And it looks like Villa equalized with Liverpool, and then they went 2-1 down again. And I agree with that. Villa's defense is as bad as ours. It does seem to be the case. Tin Man 007. Anyone who is happy for us to win tomorrow must be living in Alaska. We've been on the beach the past 4 or 5 games. I will be livid if we turn up tomorrow. Going to make a quick point on this, Tin Man, and then we might as well bring in our next guest, the one and only lovely Sean Maddox on this one.
I just have one thing to say as well.
Yeah. My point on this one, Dave, is that it kind of what you were just saying, right? Do we really have a winning mentality if we win this next game tomorrow? Where was the winning mentality for the last 4 or 5 games when we really needed it? Where was the winning mentality against Fulham, like you brought up, against Wolves, some of the more important games from this year, the cup matches where we got knocked out this year? Where was the winning mentality then against Brighton? For this is now for this game, for people to say, oh, we must have a winning mentality now. Yeah, maybe it's just too late. I understand it in principle why people would say that, but it's almost too late for us to kind of say that about ourselves or even to say that about this team. He's totally right. They have been on the beach for the last 4 or 5 games. Why would they turn up now?
Look, I'd question it. I'd be like, where were you against Chelsea and Arsenal when it actually really matters, the big rivalries? Where were you then if you're going to turn up against Man City? I'd want to question every single one of them players. Why couldn't you turn up then in the other games? So I think Tin Man 007 is an absolute spot on point, and I would be livid, to a certain degree as well if they suddenly turned up against Man City because, if they'd done it earlier on when it actually mattered, we wouldn't be in this situation. We would already secure Champions League football, and we could, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. Would be a no-brainer. We'd be going, yep, throw it. We got Champions League football. We've got what we wanted out of the season. Now just let's not let Arsenal win the Premier League title. So I'm actually in agreement with Tin Man 007. Where I disagree, because I actually like Alaska. It's one of my favorite places in the world. So if we could pick somewhere else bar Alaska, that would be ideal, Tin Man.
That's what Jason Bell said in the chat there. He said, to be fair, Alaska is actually quite beautiful in the summer. Maybe that's where people are so distracted by the beauty. They've forgotten, the importance of rivalry, and they've forgotten the importance of tribalism. It's just that great over there in Alaska, Tin Man. But we're going to bring on our lovely friend, Sean, see what he has to say on all this mess.
Let's go.
Hey, Sean.
How's it going?
Well, we're going through this debate, sir. It's not as much football chat. It's sort of winning or losing and tribalism and rivalry. These are the questions that are going on. Even Keith Edwards says, look at the bigger picture, guys. Champions League means better players will want to come to us. Where do you stand on this whole debate, Sean? And what would you say to Keith Edwards that if we were to get Champions League, that does mean a better budget and better options for better players?
I mean, again, I think my perspective is simple. I want to win every game, regardless of who we're playing and what that does to the league. I can't sit there. Again, what's the point of watching the game if I don't want my team to win?
It will be suffering, through the watch along tomorrow, if having to watch us, maybe. I'm not sure how Dave and I will even react or how Dave and I will even behave.
Yeah, no, again, I can see the perspective of not wanting to hand Arsenal the league. My desire to win every game is much higher than anything I care about Arsenal. So again, I think I'm in Camp Dermot there. Again, I think everyone has a right to be whatever opinion they want. But again, I can't root against my team. Again, I think when Ange was responding to his press conference, he gave a similar kind of point of view. He's like, no, you try and win every game. What fan doesn't want to see their team win? But no, again, I can understand. No one wants Arsenal to win the league because, frankly, they'll be unbearable to deal with. I mean, the only silver lining is that if Arsenal wins the league, they'll break the City-Liverpool kind of hold, and I think that'll be better for the health of the league in terms of just I don't want it to turn into a one-team, two-team league like you have in Spain.
But could you not flip the argument then that you made about winning tomorrow and then turn around and say, well, we shouldn't care about the rest of the league, we should care about ourselves?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, I think that the draw to the Prem is that all of the teams are competitive, and you don't ever entirely know what's going to happen every season. If City wins, like their 7th title in a row, it really starts to move toward kind of Germany, Spain territory where it's a little boring.
I do hear you. I actually agree with you on that. But on this,
but I wanted Liverpool to win it, or literally anyone other than Arsenal. And I still don't want. My desire is still, I'd rather City win the league than Arsenal. But I'm not going to sit there and be. I think I want Spurs to lose this game. No, again, I want Spurs to go out there and to fight for every game, every ball. Because I think that's more important in terms of the Ange ball, the mentality, and kind of moving the club forward than worrying about league politics.
Yeah, no, look, I hear you. Completely disagree. I do understand the point you're making. But look, to Keith Edwards' point here, if we were, because this will be an argument that will sort of fly around over the next few days. Will we get better? Are we guaranteed to get better players if we qualify for Champions League rather than Europa League?
I mean, we might, but that's out of our hands. Again, we'll see what happens. I still think Liverpool will probably win that game. But again, Aston Villa goes to Crystal Palace knowing that if they win, they get Champions League, where Palace mid-table, they're going to finish mid-table. They don't have a lot to play for other than some pride. Again, I think Aston Villa picks up at least a point, and the whole debate is pointless. So, I don't think that it matters too much. Ultimately, again, I want us to win every game. We might be in a position to qualify, and if we qualify, great. Let's go out and we'll try and win that. I think that's unlikely. I think for the development of our youth and the team, that we're probably better off in the Europa League from a kind of rebuild perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, again, I just want us to win every game. So we'll play whatever competition we end up, and there's still a chance. And again, I think that other clubs have shown that if you can present a plan and you can attract top talent regardless of playing in the Europa League. Arsenal did that when they were rebuilding their squad. Again, the combination of youth and selling people on a plan and a vision allowed them to bring in quality players. And then you continue to strengthen off of that. And as we get further into the rebuild, again, I actually think that Arsenal is showing a good plan of get those young players developed and involved, build the squad around them, and then you can get good enough to challenge for that league title. So as much as I want them to fail, I do think that they've actually kind of shown what I think we want to see happen, which is these young guys get going. And again, we're seeing those young guys are already showing that winning mentality. I mean, staying kind of stone cold on those penalty kicks after going a little too passive and almost giving that game away. It was very easy that they could have been rattled and just not been composed in that penalty shootout.
Just quickly, because I do want to ask you about the under-21 games, because I know you were watching it yesterday. I just want to say something to Keith Edwards here. Just quickly, Keith, I do understand the point you're trying to make, and I've actually thought a lot about this sort of over the last couple of days. And I know you guys are going to say, Dave, where did you find time? You've been so busy. I find time because I'm a loser and I have nothing else to think about. But when I thought about it in terms of this, if we're shopping in the world-class bracket, I would say, yes, it makes an absolute difference. But with the market we're shopping in, all them players will want to come to the Premier League. It's where the best money is. It's where the best coverage is. It's where the best exposure for their career is. So the market we're shopping in, they will want to come. It doesn't matter whether we're in Champions League or not. And, I just think it does when you're shopping in a complete different bracket where we're not in. I think that's where that really matters personally.
Yeah, no, I guess just going off of that, again, I think players we're looking at are like Elise and Eze at Palace. Spurs is a step up, even if we're in Europa League. If they can see, we can improve this squad and get them even further, they'll come over. The caliber of players that we want and that I think we were realistically going in for is those players that want to make that jump up. So I don't think they'll be mad about Europa League. That's European football and a chance to put a spotlight on themselves, either to kind of make potentially that next step up or even just to push the team to that level of competing in the Champions League next season. You don't want those players with that mentality of, they're not in the Champions League, I don't want to be there. Because again, unless they're 100 million like Mbappe world-class talent, their attitude's going to be garbage. We have enough money wasted on guys with poor attitudes.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. So, just on the under-21 game last night, I mean, Donnelly's goal, I just have to bring it up. I mean, the last goal last time I saw someone score something like that was David Beckham versus Wimbledon. If you don't know what it is, people go and check it out. Very, very similar. But, I mean, when he came off yesterday, Sean, we did crumble for that 20 minutes. See, I'd argue we were lucky to get over the line in penalties because we just did not look the same without Donnelly in terms of pressing, in terms of, creating chances and stuff like that. Does that actually show how much of a special talent we have and how much we really do need to try and fast-track this guy in and around the first team?
Yeah, no, again, what we've seen is that there's a few players, kind of Dorrington, Donnelly, and those that are just clearly at a level above the rest of those players on the team. I mean, there's a few guys that might cut it maybe as squad players, but there's a few guys that you're like, no, these are probably the most talented guys that are ready for a next level challenge. And I mean, that was the frustration in that hate along, is you saw even United is bringing in those guys you've never heard of that were through the academy and getting them minutes in the league. We need to be pushing that on next season if we really want to get there. Again, if we don't play them, they will leave and they'll go somewhere else, and we'll have another player like Marcus Edwards caliber who we could use right now that we're being again that's not at the club that we would have had on that wing had we bothered. Again, how we had Harry Kane was we trusted the academy, and even Levy can see is that made him $100 million. Even if he doesn't necessarily want a full squad of academy players, there's value in developing them, even if just to sell in that Man City model. But again, I think Donnelly is kind of that cream of the crop. Again, I think Hall's been fairly impressive. I want to see Mikey Moore actually get on the field from that bench. But again, I think at this point, that has to be the emphasis next season. And again, we're also short on those homegrown numbers. I mean, if we get some of these guys into the squad, that fixes that. And then we don't have to pay a premium on some homegrown player, which means we can fix more of the squad issues. So I don't think there's any argument for why it would be reasonable not to be playing them. Even Levy should see who cares about the players here. They have no value if you can't sell them or if they're not producing results. So it's a weird one. But again, Donnelly's always been impressive. And again, I think that taking him out to save him is one of those kind of mentalities that I hate in football. You don't take your foot off the gas to close out a game. And again, I think at least what we've seen with Ange, and the difference is he doesn't do that very much in this. And that was what we saw sometimes under Conte, was Conte would make that sub, he would take out that player, the offense would then drop kind of off, and we'd be pushed back and defending. And our defenders are not the best in the league. We don't want to be going passive like that. So I'm really hoping that maybe the academy coaches are there. Maybe Ange will go and give them a heads up of, hey, no, this is not how our style of football.
It's a common tactic by managers, but it comes with so much risk where you do then say to your own team, like when you take off the attacker, you take off one of the forwards for a defender, you are saying even to your own players, like, hey, we're going to try to see this one out now. We're not really going to go for any more goals. We're not going to try to, put our foot on their throat here. We're just going to, ride out and survive this. And that can be, for certain teams, totally acceptable, totally fine. But then, you're sometimes teaching a different lesson of how to play and, how to look at the game.
Yeah, no, again, I've never liked watching that. I could understand kind of the thought process there. Again, I think it was a bit early, but again, I think that passive defensive mindset is what Spurs have been trying to move away from. And I think that's why Ange is going to be such a good coach for us in the long run. Is I don't think he subscribes to that philosophy.
No, I hear what you're saying there. Sean, my kind of last question for you here is on the kind of the most recent game that we played. Burnley, did you have any quick thoughts on that one?
I mean, we got it across the line, and that's kind of, I think, what we've seen a lot this season is we haven't quite been good enough at what we need to get done, but we've been able to kind of drag those points into fruition. Again, we didn't concede off a corner. That's always a positive in that game.
Indeed.
So again, I think there's some holes. It's hard to kind of fully kind of judge the squad and results considering we're missing so many key players in key positions to a degree that we're seeing the holes. So again, I think a lot of it is really about developing. Again, we saw Scarlett get some minutes off the bench and actually some meaningful minutes. So even just getting a few of those guys some more minutes and a chance to kind of show what they can do will be nice. Again, Scarlett actually looked fairly solid in terms of he was making pretty smart runs, and he had some moments of some decent hold up play. So again, I think it's really about just getting across the line with as many points as we can, and I think at this point we've roughly cemented third. I think we might need one more point to lock up fifth place.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's get that job done and focus on next season.
Yeah.
I think more of my attention will be on those U23s, or not U23s, U21s,
For the rest of the
and just
season.
seeing if they can kind of get the full job done.
Yeah.
Because they've shown to be a bit more mentality monsters than I think our current players. So maybe getting a few of them integrated could help a little bit in terms of just that mindset.
100%, Sean. Well, Dave, any final words for Sean before we let him go here?
Look, it was interesting what Postecoglou said today about, maybe some of the under-21s waiting for that stable environment. And what I would say is I would expect to see one or two being brought up next year, because you would expect it to be a bit more stable with more of his players and stuff like that. So let's wait and see what happens. And look, we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow as well, Shawnee, and we'll reconvene another conversation about, the Arsenal winning the league before the weekend. But look, thank you very much for your time. Also, I shouldn't have to thank you, but I'll do it on Tottenham's behalf. Thank you very much for your interest in the academy across this season as well. So really appreciate it, Shawnee, and we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'll probably be tied up with some work tomorrow, but it should at least be there for Thursday for that U21 watch along.
Yeah.
That's where your priorities you said are for the rest of the season.
Win their trophy finally this season.
Yeah, there you go, sir.
Yeah,
They're our last opportunity for the trophy. Last opportunity, the under-21s. Well said.
Yeah. Well, Shawnee,
pick
yourself up, and I'll see you Thursday.
Come on, you Spurs. See you Thursday, Sean. Have a good one.
Thursday, Shawnee. Have a good
man.
He's got me pumped for Thursday. Now I actually can't wait. Right, I really can't wait for Thursday Cup final, and we still have a second chance of a trophy as well. Hopefully, we get over the line. Big up Tim Man as well. He says we would win or draw tomorrow and lose to Sheffield United. And you know what? That's the thing. I actually wouldn't put it past us to make it for that to happen. What I'm afraid of, if we win tomorrow, Philip will go and beat Palace, and then it'll be all for nothing.
Yeah, there's that possibility where even if we do win and people who really are desperate for Champions League, like, it's still not given to us, really. If we do end up winning tomorrow, they could still be achieved by the likes of Villa. You do feel like Spurs, I mean, that would be the most Spursy thing to have been done in a long, long, long time. That just, they can do it. Will they do it? I'm gonna pray that they don't. And man, I'm not gonna say that it's certified or anything like that, but God, they better not. They better not, because that really would be the most Spursy thing possible to do. And then he says as well, any other club, you would get better players being in the Champions League, not us, not under Levy. He gave us his own transfer ban under 3 windows, while being under the Champions League and reaching the final. I think that's the one, not one, but the main sticking point that almost everybody does have a big issue with Levy was the time in which he did, put kind of the development of Pochettino and the development of that squad on the back burner. They really were so close to getting over the line and achieving real trophies on a consistent basis. Just need that extra bit of push, that extra bit of, just re-looking and invigoration of the squad, and just didn't want to do it. He kind of thought that maybe it was good enough, and it eventually hurt us. But Tin Man, what I would say is, and maybe this is to connect back to Keith Edwards, I'm wondering, like, with Spurs, yes, I agree in principle that Champions League means more money, more attraction for players. I think you can't deny that. That being said, though, with our recruitment, we have gotten it wrong when we even had a Champions League or Champions League money, so to speak. We've had some of our best players come through the club during times when we didn't have Champions League. Not saying that's because of any sort of reason or anything like that. Maybe it was more random, but the recruitment, it's really just more down to the right recruitment, buying in the right player. Might not always be about how much money you really do spend on the guy or anything like that, because Romero and Mickey van de Ven, we spent plenty of coin on, but those were 2 guys we brought in when we didn't even have Champions League. Romero was in the case of Conference League, and then with Mickey van de Ven, it was over this summer. Of course, we needed center backs, but I think it's important recruitment and getting smart recruitment. That's what all that matters to me is. It's not always about the number, about the price, whether we're getting a deal, whether we're spending too much or anything like that. For me, it really is about buying in the right player, getting in the right recruitment, smart recruitment. That's how I see it, at least.
Look, when we get Champions League, we do the opposite. We don't use it to go full throttle and try and propel ourselves. We get comfortable. We go, bang average, but we'll reward you with we start handing out contracts, to bang average players and tying them down even longer. Well, I actually agree with Tim, man. We don't actually use the money to really excel ourselves whatsoever. We actually become very comfortable, almost complacent. Look, the argument you made there, Jack, I do get it, but I'd argue that's because we had Steve Hitchen and he just doesn't know what
Keith Edwards just said that.
He just doesn't know what a good footballer is. Paratici he does. But when we get Champions League football, it's objective met. We'll roll out the same next season. This squad is good enough to get next season, rather than just continue to sort of grow the squad, continue to fill it out. We get too comfortable, too complacent. So I actually do understand what Tin Man is saying here completely.
Yeah, and Keith Edwards raised the same point immediately after I said that. He said that was a very different recruitment team back then, Jack, and that would be your explanation, right, for that bad and inconsistency that I was speaking of. It's probably just more explained by just Steve Hitchens' incompetence. Very fair point. And Tim Man 007 saying bare minimum FC. We have been that, and that's where in the summer we're always feeling like, gosh, why didn't we push for that extra backup left back, or why didn't we push for that other center back, or whatever it has been. There's always been that sort of hindsight feeling often after a summer window. And just hope to not go back to it again. Tim Man 007, but has improved under Paratici, and I very much would agree with that from people like Keith Edwards there and yourself. Thank you really for the support as well, Tim Man 007 and Keith Edwards and Al Ben. You guys absolutely rock, and great
discussion.
Wow. Great talking points. I've really enjoyed this fan show. It's been, I think, we always get great discussions, but, a bit more fiery than usual. I've liked it. It's been fun today. But let's keep things rolling. Ribsy85, he's been waiting very, very patiently. One of the Mount Rushmores of this channel. Bring him on here.
Big up, Ribsy.
Hey. Very good, guys. How are yous?
Not too bad.
Mount Rushmore, I'll get myself carved out of stone for next season. I'll get a little a bust made back there. I don't know why you'd need two of me on screen at once, but
I would love to have a Mount Rushmore of some of our members and see, it could be probably, we'll get the Cristiano Ronaldo sculptor to get on that one, see how it turns out.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that'd be perfect. That's what I want.
That's what you need.
The half-assed Cristiano Ronaldo statue. Yeah. That's what I want.
Well, Ribsy, do you want to start with the very fiery discussions of whether you want to win or whether you want to lose tomorrow? Would you rather end with that? Where do you want to go first?
Oh, I don't mind. Look, I'm sort of the opinion. Well, we'll start with it. There we go, because I'm going to start talking about it now. So, look, honestly, I'm with the guys who are more like, this is pretty academic, because I just don't see us being City. I know that we are the team that we do give them trouble and that sort of thing. But our squad at the moment, it just feels depleted. I wouldn't say that we're defeated and and it's the end of it's completely the end of the season or whatever. But we're sort of at that point now where it feels like it's going to be a real struggle. So, but the good news is, for any of the people that are really worried about what Arsenal fans are going to say to them, if we win, then we just say, look, we're a football team. We just win football matches. That's what we do. And if we lose, then we just say, yeah, fuck yeah, we lost on purpose. Eat shit. There's no lose here. I reckon it's there's no way for us to lose in terms of that mentality. If anyone's worried about Arsenal fans saying, oh, we won the league because of you and your win, it's like, yeah, because you couldn't win it without us.
They needed our help. Yeah, whoever said that earlier, it was shameful that they even need to ask for our help.
Allan.
Not real champions if they need to ask for Spurs' help in the grand scheme of things. Is it even really a title then if you have to wait for Spurs' help?
That's it. If you need your biggest rival to fucking get you over the line, I mean, come on.
It's not real then. You can't take it seriously.
It's got an asterisk next to it.
Ribsy, what do you make of the recent comments about to Champions League or not to Champions League? Plenty of people are kind of in the Europa League boat where they're plenty satisfied with that they think that's our level. some think that you have to go for the highest competition possible. What do you think?
Well, I don't really get that, because even if we do get Champions League and we sort of bomb out of it, where do we end up, right? In the Europa League, isn't that how it usually works? And I know the competition keeps changing in recent years, and I don't even really know how it works next season. But I'm still, as far as I understand, if you don't, if you bomb out of the Champions League, you still end up in the Europa League, unless you really lose everything. But so in my opinion, as you were saying, I'm more of the opinion you just go for the best competition you can get. I'm just not sure that even with a win against City, we're guaranteed to get that top 4 position. So I don't know.
Which leads us back to what Dave was saying. The most embarrassing thing would be is to grab points against City and then to drop points to Sheffield United, or even to get points in both and then still, have Aston Villa, I guess, still qualify. There's that to think about. It feels like, though, Ribsy, the team in the last 4 or 5 games, it was brought up by Tin Man, I believe, from earlier, that they've been on the beach anyways, the players. At least it looks like they've been on the beach anyways. So for them to show up in this game, that's what would actually piss off certain Spurs fans. It's like, why would you show up for this game when you've been mauled in all the others?
Yeah, well, that's it. We've lost in pretty poor fashion in some very winnable matches in the last quarter of this season. And it's pretty clear that that there was matches there that we just didn't show up for. And it's I totally agree. If you're suddenly, now that there's all the cameras are turned on you because this is a big match against City and it's potentially a title deciding match, and then suddenly you give a fuck, when there's other people watching you instead of just Spurs fans. Like, wait a minute, what kind of mentality is that? So no, I'm totally on board with that as well. But also how do you sit here as a Spurs fan? And I guess this is where I've got some sympathy for some of the people saying earlier in this show that it's difficult to want your team to lose. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, how do you sit here as a Spurs fan and say, oh yeah, no, I'm going to watch it, but I hope that we lose. Like, what are you watching football for? Aren't we supposed to win?
I'm confused what we'll even do on the watch along. The sort of do we even do it? I'm so confused because I do want us to lose. So I'm so confused where I even stand as a fan on that. And I agree, it's a fair point. But it's right. Are you willing to go that low? Are you willing to go that petty? Where it is. Like I said, it's like a solar eclipse of a situation. This never happens often in sports, where the biggest rivals get to decide each other's outcomes without playing each other directly, like in a game. And this is where you question, do you go to the lowest of the lows? And I think I am willing to go there.
No, I hear you, man.
I live there.
The best case scenario is for us to be up 3-0. And then to just go at the end of the match in the last 10 minutes, just open the net and just go, fuck Arsenal, kick them in, just kick 6 past us.
I agree. I agree. That would be actually
that
even
would
better.
be an absolute joke of a match, and that would be go down in history as the biggest travesty in football. But still, it'll be good for us.
just to get their hopes up for 90 minutes pretty much, and then only to do the cheating at the end. I can't approve of that. That would be even better lows of lows. Ribsy, another point that was being made though was just the fact that as Spurs fans, I guess we're not even supposed to care about what's going on down the road, or we're not supposed to be occupied with how their season is going. That was a point made by, I believe, more Dermatron than really anybody else. His was kind of just like, I don't really care what's going on about them. Even if they do win the league and they mock it in my face, I'll just stick 2 birds up and walk away. Do you accept that as an argument, or do you think that's, maybe he just has too thick of skin, and, some of us, we do have to face the noise, and that's what's hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the noise, but also just the fact that, over the last, if you look at the last, I don't know, 8 seasons or whatever, Spurs have been the team that have got closer to getting the title than Arsenal have on average. And it's just one of those things where it feels like we got fairly close a couple of times, and we completely stuffed it up ourselves. So it's not anyone else's fault but ours. But it does feel like we were working towards it in a more aggressive fashion than they were, and they had some real terrible seasons. So it does feel a little. It hurts a little for them to be in this position now. Even if they don't win it, it still sticks in my back a little bit. So I don't know. I can't willingly allow, if we have any way to affect the outcome and stop them from winning the league, I think we should do it. But also I can fully understand why the players and Ange are completely on the other side of that, because they're professional managers and football players. They don't go into matches to freaking lose. So they're gonna play their hearts out like they always do. And it might even, one of the worst things is that they're in a situation now where they realize that they're not going to get the sort of stick they would get from Spurs fans normally for losing, because a lot of us are sort of like, well, we don't actually would prefer that you lose this one. Thank you very much. So they've got no pressure. So they might have the best game of the damn season.
Did you find that question kind of insulting to Ange, like Dave did, where it's just kind of like, what did you expect him to say? What did you expect Kulusevski to say? Like, they're not us, they're not fans like us who can play this sort of game that you and I are right now. Like, they have to.
Exactly.
It's like questioning their professionalism, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's if he were to intentionally throw a football match, that would make him a fan and not a manager, right? Yeah. And that's just not his job. But he can fully appreciate that the fans aren't going to give him much pressure in terms of a result for this match. So this might be a good time to experiment with some stuff that he wanted to try out, that he's against some pretty damn good competition. So, but I mean, who knows? I mean, I would say that if he, as a professional football manager, goes into any match intending to lose it, then just like a Formula One driver or whatever, like you're not doing your job at that point, and that would be a good time to move him on. That would be after you've lost that edge in terms of wanting to win every single football match that you go to manage. So even though I want him as a fan to lose, if I were him, I'd be wanting to win it as much as possible, because that's his job.
Yeah. And if he came out and said he wanted to lose, most of the fan base would be Ange out then, this guy wants to lose and everything else. So, I just don't understand why the journalist puts guys in this position. There's so much more questions he could have asked them. Do we need a number 9 this season? Where will Sonny be playing next season, off the left or up front? Where do you see his future? There's so much more intelligent questions that could have been asked, rather than, gauging reactions on social media, which is a cesspit at the best of times. So, I mean, I just feel disappointed with the level of questioning, to be brutally honest. And I just can't, I can't believe they put him in that situation. I mean, it's actually just embarrassing the football club, to be brutally honest. I mean, if it came from an agitator like someone from Sky Sports or something, I could understand. But to come from someone that's a Spurs fan, I just don't really get what we were trying to get out of it, to be brutally honest, because all it does is put that in the spotlight when it really shouldn't be in the spotlight, to be brutally honest. Everyone knows, where Spurs fans sit. That Spurs fans are split on it right now and stuff like that. But if he thought that Postecoglou was just going to come out and say, yeah, mate, I want to throw it, I mean, I question why he's allowed to ask questions in the first place. Anyway, because, do you know what? And I just feel disappointed in Charlie Eckeshare, because genuinely I actually think he's a good journalist. I actually like a lot of the stuff he puts out. It's just this one question, I just don't understand what he was trying to get from it, to be brutally honest. I just think he painted the Spurs fans in a bad light, and I think it puts the club in a bad spotlight.
Yeah.
Whoever said it earlier, you're right, Ribsy, probably was just looking for a good soundbite. I think it might have been Allan who mentioned that. But Ribsy, just some quick questions before we let you go. Did you have any preferences of the list of strikers that was put out today by Paul O'Keefe? I think the list was Luis Openda from Leipzig. You have Ivan Toney, of course, Dominic Solanke, Jimenez, the guy from Feyenoord, should I say. And then there was one other that I'm trying to remember now.
Swedish guy.
Swedish guy, Gyökeres.
Gyökeres, yeah.
I like him, actually.
Any
Yeah.
preferences or any qualities that you're looking for even?
Yeah, I like the Swede. Just like Dave was saying. I mean, he's a tough bloke. He presses well. I haven't seen too much of him, but yeah, he's pretty sharp too. So I think he'd be a pretty good pick. Ivan Toney, in terms of skill set, is an excellent striker. I think he's a brilliant player. Just as I think it was Mia earlier saying, he's not a particularly good person in terms of what I've seen of him, as in terms of the way he acts, the things he does, the decisions he makes. So, mate, is he a fit for the club? Tough to say. But I don't think you could go wrong with either of those in terms of the actual requirements of the position. The rest of them I haven't seen enough of to truly give an opinion of, to be perfectly honest.
Fair point.
But I like the Swede. I like the Swede, even though I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah, it's a hard one. And it also doesn't even come, I could be wrong, doesn't even sound very Swedish. It sounds kind of sort of like a Hungarian name or something like that. I could be mistaken.
Yeah,
but
kind of like Kulusevski, right? Is like a
where you're kind of thrown you're thrown off. You're like, yeah.
Hmm.
Just Burnley though as well. Did you have any opinions on we got to win 2-1? You have any opinions on that one? It felt good.
Yeah, you think we do better against Burnley? An almost completely relegated Burnley, but certainly we put the nail in the coffin there. But look, it's a win. I'm not going to complain. I mean, we've had a series of losses, so I'm happy to get the win. But it's, if you look at early in the season, if you remember some of the football that we were playing, right up until that Chelsea match. We looked unstoppable, and even when we were held, we still looked like we were trying to outplay the opposition. But you can't tell me you watched that Burnley match and thought it was the same season or the same team, because it just wasn't. The fire is clearly gone for the season, and they're going through the motions a little bit there. Which is weird because there's still stuff to play for us, but it just doesn't feel as though they thought the same way. When I say they, I mean our players. So, and you can really see Ange getting frustrated there.
Last question I have for you, Ribsy, before we let you go, my man. How do you think Van der Ven on a left back when Postecoglou made the change?
Great question.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's pretty clear that he's a natural for that. I mean, he's so fast and he dribbles well for a big lad.
True.
And it's really good to have someone with that much height in a position like that as well, because it's sort of a luxury at left back to have a tall guy. And, it's brilliant. But as Ange was saying, when questioned about it, like, this is a guy who's had a little bit of hamstrings trouble already this season. And is this something where he's just like, look, I let him go flying up and down the sideline at, the weight he is and the build he is. How long is it going to be until that pops? And then I'm completely without my starting left centre back, So, it's hard to argue with that as well. If it was mostly to do with trying to keep the guy on the field and playing football as opposed to, in the injury room, then I get it. I get what he's talking about. But clearly, I mean, if you had the injury coverage, it's difficult to say that he wouldn't be an excellent choice to be, a left wing back or a left full back, and because he's just so good defensively and his cross is good and he's so fast. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? As long as his body can hold it.
Yeah, and look, I think that's everyone's biggest fears with Van der Ven is, you got to protect them hamstrings, because we know how much hamstring injuries can affect players at Tottenham Hotspur, because it seems like we don't know how to treat them. But Ribsy, big yourself up. Really appreciate waiting around to speak to us, my man, and really enjoyed this phone call, and hopefully we don't leave it so long next time.
Yeah, no, I've been a little busier than normal over the last couple of months, but I'll see you guys for the watch along. Cheers.
Thank you.
Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how it goes.
All right, and we'll get the sculptor working on your. Send us some images, send us some photos, and we'll get them working straight away. We'll send it over to.
I'll send you some nudes.
We'll have one for each member, full body for the. Or that's what we mean by the Mount Rushmore.
And a serving dish.
A different version of the Mount Rushmore that you may be thinking of. Big up to Ribsy, absolute legend. We'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, Ribsy. Big up, appreciate you.
I can't
That's
get
awesome.
that image out my head. Oh, thanks for that,
Michelangelo pose, Dave. Michelangelo
Yeah.
pose for Ripsy. That'd be great.
Oh, I can't get it. I'll wake up at 3:00 tonight sweating.
Well, so far, before we bring on the next guest, I'm seeing 382 votes in the House, and 52% have gone for the win. 52% want us to win. 48% do not. It's been very split this whole time. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But we're going to keep things moving. Dave, I believe, who's up next? Michael. Yes.
Michael.
Good man to talk to next. Let's see what he has to say.
Let's bring him on.
Hey, Michael.
Good evening, Michael. How are you?
Good evening, lads.
How's life treating you?
I kid you not, I had some waffle today on many shows. I don't know how people want us to win tomorrow. I don't get it.
State your case.
Holy shit, guys. Like, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, right? But I kid you not, tomorrow I want us to bend over and take it like a good girl or boy, depending on what you are into, right?
You're like you're like Dermatron, where you seem to feel very strongly about this, but the complete opposite of what Dermot was. The complete opposite.
Yes.
I wish we had Dermot and you at the same time.
Of course, nothing personal. I was like, joking a bit with the waffle bit, right? But yeah, in all honesty, I think that, listen, we can't hand them the Premier League title. Like, I kid you, I know some people take like banter better than others, right? And listen, it's not like I will get banter. I'm Polish, right? I won't get bantered by the Arsenal fans, right? But listen, guys, like, for your sake, you English guys, right? Everyone in England watching this, and especially people in London, right? For your own sake, I really hope that we lose tomorrow, right? This is this one time that I will actually like not cheer us on during the match, right? I will watch the match, but I kid you not, I don't know how to, like, honestly, what Ribsy said, I think Ribsy, said it, that we score 3 goals, right? 3-0 somehow, I don't know why, right? And then we just open up and let them score 6 so that they, fix their goal difference and win, right? That would be the best scenario. I kid you not, right? Of course, that won't happen. Listen, boys, in all seriousness, I think that just purely like on a serious note, right? Watching the games, I've watched like City's games recently. I've watched ours, right? I really don't see a way for us to win this game, and I know that we've been saying this like almost every single year, and then somehow we shithouse a win against them, right? But the difference this year is that we play this like offensive, open, highline style of football, and by the looks of things, we are not adapting to depending on the opposition, right? So I honestly, I honestly don't see us winning, right? I don't think we have enough quality in the forward line to break City down when we have the ball, and I also think that we are too open to keep a clean sheet, or to keep them out, right? All those times recently that we've won against them were us playing like low block, 5 at the back, or two defensive midfielders in front of a back 4 or whatever, right? Like this time it's different. I honestly, footballing wise, I don't see us drawing or even drawing, right? I'm not even saying about winning, right? Yeah, go on, Dave. Go on.
I agree with you in terms of the front line. I mean, if what we've watched over recent weeks is anything to go by, I mean, they've had 3-on-2 scenarios, 4-on-3 scenarios, 5-on-4 scenarios, and they failed to get shots off on goals. So I definitely don't see us carving City open or to get any real quality opportunities to go and win the game. I definitely agree with that for sure. I mean,
Dave,
our forward line is useless.
Some of the chances that some of the players missed against Burnley were absolutely criminal. I have no words to describe it, and I've been a bit like 50-50 on Bernard Johnson, right? But listen, those games like yesterday, 2 days ago, they don't help, right? Seriously, I don't want to be against this guy, right? It's not like I have something like personal against him, right? But when he keeps missing those chances, I think there is a stat that he missed the most big chances in the league, and he has like the second worst shot conversion rate in our club, and the only one that's worse than him is Werner, right? So it's honestly it's hard for me to get behind him, and it's hard for me to back him. And it's honestly like the same thing with other guys. Guys, that I love Kulusevski, but some of the performances he's been putting up,
I agree.
Yeah.
almost all
Useless.
season, have been absolutely useless, right? And
I called them the useless twins, Michael, in the last game.
Yeah,
They were
it's-
both equally useless.
it's honestly crap, right? I kid you not. I've seen someone suggest that we should like start our attackers at the back line and start our defenders at the forward line. And I kid you not, I would be more confident of us scoring goals than if it was the other way around, right? If you look at like the way Mickey van de Ven scored that goal, that second goal against Burnley, that's some absolutely like brilliant world class. If Saka scored that, everyone would be creaming their pants.
Yeah.
The way he
Yep.
like he had the ball on his left, he was running towards the from our perspective right sided corner flag, right, and then he opens his body up to the left and just places it like caresses it into the post, right? That's honestly a mad finish, right? And same thing with Pedro Porro. Like, don't get me wrong, the defending on that 4-1 Liverpool, I think.
Are you looking at the game? Are you looking at the game?
Sorry, I have the game on the other monitor, and I would...
But you were describing the Mickey Van de Ven goal, or did you move on to something else? Sorry.
I wanted to move on to the Pedro Porro goal because I also think the way that he laced that ball, absolutely. Like, I know the defending was horrible because the center back should have closed him down and not give him as much space as he had, right? But yeah, the way he laced it was absolutely beautiful. And I kid you not, I just look at some of our attackers and I don't think they have like the strength or the capability to place those shots. And it's honestly ridiculous, right? Jack, when we played against Arsenal, right, that Mickey van de Ven goal that got chopped off with the offside, right, thing, right? And that, like Christian Romero goal, I was more confident of scoring them, those guys scoring those goals, rather than if like Werner or Johnson were put in those situations. I kid you not, I promise
you, mean.
if Werner got that Romero chance, he would have missed that. I am like absolutely sure about it, right? And it's honestly like I don't know sometimes how to feel about this.
I know what you mean, where I have more confidence now in our defenders scoring our goals than I do really any of our forwards, bar Sonny, at this moment in time. Can I just, this is a very small detail on the Burnley game, and since we are talking about it anyways, Michael, I had actually felt like despite Porro's goal being brilliant, he also was very guilty of wasting some chances. Like, there were some moments where he had the ball in some excellent spaces and was firing these like first time crosses and shots so unnecessarily, where he had all the time in the world to, create a goal, and then he wouldn't. But I wouldn't say it was just Porro. There were, of course, Johnson, Kulusevski, so many people where they would do the same thing. Remember, there was that one where even Johnson on the right side, not even on the left side, on the right side, Sonny is just onside waiting for that, waiting for that cross across the penalty area. And Johnson never even picked up his head. I don't think Johnson ever even knew he was there. It was unbelievable.
Slap it with like
Porro is doing the same thing. They're all completely devoid of confidence.
Yeah, and it's not only confidence, Jacko, right? For me, it's also quality. I kid you not, I think some of those guys lack the quality to be forward players, right? The issue with our system is, if you want to play it correctly, right, is the fact that all three of these guys have to score, right? It's not only the striker, because like people focus on Richarlison and the striker position, right? Wingers also have to score, right? We have only one forward player that I'm confident that will score, and even him, Son, is not on the best of forms recently, right? And some of his shots in that Burnley game were absolutely like criminal. Like he had
he missed some chances,
and he just slaps this like pea shooter towards the goalie, right? So even he is devoid of confidence and that self belief that he can actually score, right? But I know that he has quality because he has already proven it, right? But with like Johnson, Werner, Kulusevski, they have their qualities. It's not like they are absolutely useless or anything, right? But they are, for me, clearly lacking in that finishing part. And this is something that we talked about, Jacko, right? About like finishing in the forward line. It is one of the most important things. Like they can work their ass off as much as they want. If they don't score, then like it's hard for me to back them, right?
No, I
Yeah,
100% agree with you, Michael. And we had this conversation for the members a long, long time ago, and Dave and I as well. I think we've done a version of that conversation 2 or 3 times now. It's how long we've sort of been on this train with it. Another thing, though, Michael, is if you saw today, Spurs linked with a ton of strikers.
Yeah.
Any preferences? I know you were big on the Mexican, Jimenez, and I would love to have a Mexican player at Spurs, so more excuses for me to have tacos after a win. But Solanke, Gyökeres, Tony, Luis Openda, Santiago Jimenez, any of those players that you have a preference of or for?
So if I were to analyze this list, I think I would find it really like surprising if we went in for Openda seriously, because he's a relatively new transfer, right? I think Leipzig bought him this season, if I remember correctly, right? So I think he would like command a really big fee. And listen, like Ange already kind of hinted that we won't be signing like 100 million players, right? I'm not saying Openda is 100 million, but probably like 70 or something, right? So I would find it like really surprising if we actually went in for him, right? But he is a quality player. I would actually like to have him, right? But I think this is the least probable. I am really sus on Tony. Listen, he's a quality player, but the amount of time this guy had not playing football, it will impact him, right? And like ever since he came back to Brentford, he's either been dropped or not performing up to a certain standard. I am really like not confident about this signing, right? Then there is Jimenez. Like he was doing absolutely like stellar, but ever since like this year started, he's fallen a bit off a cliff. So I still think I like the profile of the player, right? And Gyökeres, I just have a weird feeling Gyökeres will flop when he moves on from Sporting. I don't know why, and I have nothing against the guy. I think the things that he's showing in Portugal are absolutely stellar for me, right? His form, his goal scoring, his pressing, etc. I just sometimes you just have a hunch about player, right? You just look at him and you are like, I don't think you will work out here.
I know what you mean.
Right? I by the way, I have the same feeling about Osimhen. By the way, I think whoever goes in for Osimhen, I don't think Osimhen will live up to the hype that is placed on him.
That's a great hot take. Love that hot take. Yeah. That's a great one.
It's just the way I feel about it, right? But yeah, I think I like.
Is that also just in general, Michael? Maybe one of my last questions for you before maybe Dave gives you one, because we have spoke about this season for the summer. Is that the biggest priority for you? Like, is this after watching that Burnley game? Could it not be more obvious to you that the forward line is where we need the most work, where we need the most improvement?
I think it's really hard because I think like number 6 is just as important as forward line signings. I think if we want to persist with that system and if we want to be so like open and susceptible to transitions, listen, this is the setup that we want to do, right? City are also susceptible to transitions with the way they play, right? If you want to do that, then we have to have a 6 that's actually a number 6, right? And that's actually good enough, because for me, Bissouma, like profile wise, I think he's more of an 8, especially with like the lapses of concentration and him not tracking back as hard as he should, playing that number 6 role. And I just think that Højbjerg is like, as much as I like his like sub performances this season, I think he's just like not good enough for this system. I think in other systems he can completely work. So I think 6 is just as important, right? But that forward line, I kid you not, we need
sounds like you have a headache still after that game, Michael. I really don't blame you. Don't blame you at all, sir.
I kid you not, Jack. I think we need a striker, and I think we need another winger, right? That's like at least 2 signings, but I would honestly like go even for like a starting winger, a starting striker, and a sub winger. I kid you not, I think we need like 2 or 3 people in that front line, right?
No,
because Kulusevski and Johnson are not going anywhere. They are recent signings, right? So that they will stay. Son is staying. That we are not selling him, right? So that's free. And I've always been saying I think that a healthy squad has 2 players per position. So that leaves 3 spots for me to be taken. Like for people who are saying that we should buy Werner, miss me with that shit. I don't want us to have nothing to do with Werner. Right?
No Timo Weenie for you.
I don't care how much he runs. I don't care how much of like brilliant through balls he puts in from the left side and they just slap off a defender and become an own goal. I don't care. The guy cannot score goals. I don't want this type of player in my team. So Werner is going. I have a sneaky feeling that we will sell Richarlison. I that's just the way I see it, and I think Brian Hill is gone definitely. Yeah. So that leaves 3 spots, right? And I think those 3 spots should be filled with 3 new players.
Completely. That's because we've also been so absent of even any fit forwards at all this season. I think you have to replace them and then even bring in more. Completely agree. Michael, great chat, sir. Really do appreciate you. I do love that you were on sort of the opposite end of Dermot and you felt so strongly also as well for an international fan like myself, to have that with you, to also feel very similar and to feel so strongly really was beautiful to see. I can tell that even guys like Steve D were very happy that you had come in and sort of expressed that opinion.
But by the way, like I also have to say the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't care if we play in the Champions League. I actually don't mind us being in the Europa League. First of all, I think it's a competition that we have much more chance of winning, right? I actually think that's the level that we are at currently, Europa League, because like let's not disrespect it. Like remember what team you support, guys. You support a team that hasn't won a trophy for 16 fucking years, right? Do not like pick your nose up and say that we are too good for Europa League. We are not. If we would win like Europa League, it's absolutely like magnificent for us, right? So that's the way I see it. But I also think like I just don't want to bear the consequences of handing Arsenal the title. I just cannot live with it, right? Because you know how this fan base of theirs like acts, right? They will rub it in for the next like 2 decades, right? Yep. That we won the league at your stadium without even being there or something. They will come up with the most ridiculous shit that they can, right? So just for that sake, I don't want us to do them any favors, right? Because they wouldn't do it the other way around. If it was the other way around, they would be singing Blue Moon, they would be wearing like all blue, like doing like collaboration streams and merging logos together or whatever. Like no, just no, just for this one. Like Ange, big up for like installing the mentality of we always want to win, we always want to try. Big up for that, but for this one game, piss off with that. Just bend over. Let's see the other way. Please.
Well, Michael, well done, sir. Well done, sir. Great call as always. Thanks for your patience as well, waiting your turn and having a chat with us. And I liked what you had to say. I love all opinions on this one. I have absolutely enjoyed how split the fan base has been on this one. It's been glorious to see. But Michael, great job, sir. Way to speak your mind. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Bye, Michael.
See you, Michael. Have a good one, man.
Dave, Michael, yeah, you wouldn't expect that a non-English fan might be one of the strongest, feeling about that sort of this game tomorrow. He's probably felt the strongest of anyone. I think actually Mia, to be fair, we have forgot about Mia's brilliant speech from earlier. She also felt very strongly, but well done for Michael. Spoke his mind.
Yeah, no, of course he did. And look, I can see the argument either way, right? And the reality is, everyone's Spurs fans at the end of the day. Whether you feel strongly one way or the other, you still want what you think is best for Tottenham at the end of the day. So, you can argue that winning is the best for Tottenham, but you'd also argue, it's handing the National Premier League title what's best for Tottenham, because you hand it to them, more scrutiny comes on Tottenham, more scrutiny on the board, and less chance the manager gets to succeed and all that sort of jazz. Shame my internet's all over the place, actually, because I wanted to ask Michael about Veskovic's recent goal. Absolute screamer. So I do apologise by that, Michael. And anyone that's out there going, oh, There's very quiet tonight, I just don't want to interrupt guessing their flow because my internet's all over the shop.
Yeah, and what can happen? Yeah, there can be that delay, and then everybody gets sort of caught up in it. Very good of you, Dave, to take one for the team, I guess, with that one. I'm sorry that the internet's acting up more than usual, but you've been here before, you know what can happen. So nice one on you. Let's keep things moving though. Sam is up next. Then we have Paul. Then we have Tyler. If there is somebody who has been saving the link this time, it really would do us a massive favor just so that we know that you're coming on. Because right now we think these are the last three. So if anyone has been saving the link, please do come on. Just helps us have a better idea of how to time manage. But we're going on to Sam. See what he has to say. Hey, Sam.
What's up,
Good to see you back.
You all right?
Hey, Sam.
Thanks for having me on.
It's been a spicy one tonight, hasn't it?
It has. It has. I mean, I've been sort of had one eye on the Aston Villa game and with my earphones and listening to this. On that Aston Villa game, I would say it's been such a typical Spurs Liverpool performance from Villa. You know, Emi Martinez, like with the most calamitous own goal to start the game off. They've missed a chance, an open goal from like 1 yard. Villa. They've had chances like Liverpool have basically just scored all of their chances pretty much, and Villa just haven't taken them. So I feel for the Villa band right now.
I've said that to Dave on a couple of occasions this season where like I see ourselves in Aston Villa a lot. Like I think we're weirdly very similar to them in a lot of ways when it comes to finishing, how open we are at the back, the inconsistency as well, where, you know, really high points, really low points. And I think they are very similar to us and probably would explain then why we're so close to each other at this stage of the season in the table. But now that you know the result, it looks like Liverpool are going to get through, isn't it, Sam? Liverpool are going to get over the line.
It does, and I think that kind of that makes my stance a little bit more.
Yeah, let us know.
Like difficult. I mean, I'm a North Londoner, you know, so I can't be having them winning it. I'm sorry. I can see both sides. For me, it's kind of a lose-lose because I don't want to lose, but I also don't want to win. And I don't want to take any points off them because I'd say 80% of my friends are Arsenal fans, and I just like I've talked a lot of smack in my time there. I can't imagine the pain that I will endure if they win it.
Yeah. And in fact, even Louise is saying she would actually get more enjoyment out of the pain of the Arsenal fans watching us lose and bottle that game. She's saying that she would get actually a ton of enjoyment out of their reactions to us seeing us lose. I like how Louise thinks with the mental battles there. But where do you make of the fact that it is so split, Sam? Can you explain that? Is that a surprise to you that it's so split? Did you think it would be more one or the other in the fan base?
To be honest, I thought it would have. I mean, it's probably based on Twitter, but Twitter's a bit cesspool. I thought it would be more people wanting us to lose. Mm-hmm. But I can understand both sides of it. Like, I do like that. I mean, like you were saying, Dave, I mean, what kind of question was that to ask him in the press conference? But I do like his response, even though he probably couldn't have responded any differently. Like, we do want to instill a mentality of winning at all costs. And like, look, if we ended up beating City, our results against the top six, other than the last week, would have been very positive. And last season and seasons in the past, we've absolutely shit the bed, against the top six. Like, we beat the teams that are sort of like in and around us usually, but don't actually beat the teams that we have to beat, like the lower league teams. They always get some sort of jammy result against us, and we always seem to get done against the bigger teams. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one. I obviously want to see us win. I'm kind of going into it with like whatever will be.
Whatever the result sort of leans towards, you'll just sort of ride with it, kind of just go with the flow of however it ends up being. Are you a little worried that Spurs do have such a fantastic record against Man City, no matter what the situation? Is that playing in your mind at all?
Do you remember? I mean, I don't know how long you said you've been following Spurs, but when that year that Chelsea won the Champions League for the first time, and we finished in the top four and they knocked us out, my granddad is a big gooner, and he was saying to me, coming up to the Champions League final, I've had this dream, you're gonna get top 4, and Chelsea are going to knock you out, and it's just going to be like so good. And as soon as the fixtures kind of came how they were laid out when they were not at the beginning of the season, but when they were like rescheduled, I just could see it all. We were like, my biggest fear was the loss to Arsenal at home and the win to City, because that's just what we do. That is Spurs.
You need to say something, Dave?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say he's absolutely spot on. I mean, look, it's a shit dilemma to be in, but like Sam saying, I just don't want Arsenal to win. Like, we had our opportunity to spoil their title race. We didn't take it. You can't, like, if they turn up tomorrow, I'll be the very first one. I'll get my own press pass and I'll be straight in there. I'll be like, okay, why can you do that against Chelsea and Arsenal, even for just pride for us fans? Don't come out here now against Man City when Spurs fans don't really want to expect them to finish this game, and then come out with all this fighting talk, we're going to win. We don't throw any games and everything else. Okay, well, where was that against Arsenal and City when us fans want to win, when us fans want the bragging rights, when we want to have a bit of pride? You guys have the opportunity to install that. You don't, but then you want to turn up against Man City. Not having it.
I think it really plays into the narrative of like, we've never been able to handle pressure. Like, we've kind of got nothing to play for. I think this Liverpool win kind of gives us a little bit of hope that maybe Champions League could still be on if we get some results. But it's the classic, we lose as soon as there's a bit of pressure when we're feeling actually in a good place. And then when there's no pressure, we go and get a good result. Although I did think that we could have probably put a few more past Burnley, and that would have been very classic after like losing 4 in a row. You go and put 4 past Burnley or whatever, which could have happened on another day, but it is what it
is. Just on Burnley, I mean, forward line didn't come to the party yet again. Where are you at with the forward line right now, and what do you think we need this summer? Because I'm of the opinion, I'm not naive to know that we need a number 6, but I would suggest if we actually improve that forward line, a lot of the results we've seen this season, you would actually turn into points on the board. The losses will probably some of the losses turn into draws. Some of them draws will also turn into wins. So for me, I think the biggest priority is actually that forward line. I see a lot of some people may be raising the question, should we sell Sonny? I'm completely against it. I don't think you should look to sell your 2 world-class players, one somewhere after another. Where are you at with that conversation around Sonny? Because the argument sort of is, Sam, is that he's declining. We should look to take as much value as we can for him now.
So last season, when he was obviously in that like terrible form, towards the end of the season, or like parts of the season, I was thinking, should we potentially cash in on him? Obviously, then I found out that he had that hernia or whatever it was, and that he's playing with the injury. And that kind of, I took a step back from that sort of selling Son idea. And this season, I think it plays into your other question about how I feel about the forward line and what we need. And I just think we're so overly reliant on Sonny. It's so easy to defend. I think, to answer your other question as well, I think even if we don't end up signing like a banging striker, which I think would be typical us, like in a transfer market, because we need. I think a big one would be to sign a winger who can actually beat their man, and has some sort of prowess when it comes to actually getting in the box. Like our wingers at the moment, like Brennan Johnson, and I like Brennan. I don't think he's necessarily the answer, but players like Brennan and Timo, they're good at knocking the ball past someone and getting to the byline, and they were complementing each other well. Although obviously Timo couldn't put the ball in the back of the net to save his life. But I just think that we need someone with the sort of technical profile of Kulu, with the actual speed of Brennan, so that they can actually take someone on. And if they can't get in behind, they can do a little bit of trickery. and actually get a position to make space for someone else. Because I just feel like we're so predictable. I think the last time I came on, we spoke about it, that we attack one way and everyone just goes, yeah, we'll just sit deep and you can try and break us down. You want to play narrow. You've got Son in the middle who's not going to win a header, so try and beat us in the air. I just think that obviously we're unlucky that we haven't had Richarlison in such a pivotal part of the season, because I do think that we'd have got different results. Whether you're forced to play Sonny on the left or not, Richarlison in the middle, backing into people and actually holding up the ball would have been key for us, I think.
Or even just having our second most competent forward this season playing along our best forward, right? Sonny, I think, has had, it might sound harsh, I said it to the members today, Sam, but Sonny in a game like Burnley, it feels like he is, even if he is playing well, he's playing with the two useless twins of recent with Kulusevski and Brennan Johnson. I think he has been needing somebody of some sort of confidence and some sort of competence level that he can work off of, that he can play off of. Of course, he'll never have what he had with Harry Kane, maybe even ever again, but he does need somebody that he can play off of. Pretty much no forward can play, completely by themselves. They need to pass it to somebody. They need to play 1-2s with some sort of guy in their forward line with. And I think Sonny's been missing that in this team. And Richarlison, has been that guy for him. It's just Richarlison never really fit.
But I hate to slag off players, but I don't know what Kulusevski is doing at the moment.
You frustrated with him?
I am frustrated because he got dropped for a certain number of games. I can't remember the exact amount. And you're like, okay, when you come back in, Kulu, you've got to take your chance. Everyone knows you've got the ability. Just take your chance. Do the simple things right. And to be fair to Ange, he's actually tried to get Kulu in. He's played him at 10. He's played him on the right. He's now finally played him on the left. And he's done nothing. Honestly, nothing. And I try not to get worked up, but that game, our forward line was so bad. Every time we got the ball, we looked devoid of ideas, devoid of confidence. And even though we did have chances to win that game more comfortably, I didn't see where the goal was going to come from. And like you say, it's just classic that Porro, who had the record number of shots this season without scoring, has ended up scoring our goal to get us back in the game. And then Mickey, who has been class all season when he's been available, and scored some very important bangers. Let's be honest. We're relying on players that defenders that I can't even really remember the last time that we've had defenders that have actually scored more than the odd goal a season.
Yeah.
Honestly, I know Jan used to get a few goals. Toby got a couple goals, but even then, I don't think what's Romero on? He's on 4 goals. Van de Ven's on 3 goals. When was
Romero could easily have been our third
goals?
highest goal scorer this season if some of these had gone in. Easily would be up.
Literally, our entire back line has provided probably more to our attack than our midfielders.
Yeah. Look, it's hard to disagree. You look at Pedro Porro, you look at the amount of assists he's got, right? He's one of our best playmakers in the team, which says a lot about the forward line, plus his goals. You look at Romero and Van de Ven, I think all of Van de Ven's 3 goals have all been winners. I think Romero's goals have, some of them have had importance as well. So when you look at it, even Adoji to a certain degree has stepped up in games with assists and stuff like that. So when you look at it, it just highlights the problem that forward line is having, that, our defenders are the ones that are sort of stepping up and taking a plumb in terms of their defensive, in terms of what they try and do defensively, but also going forward. It's quite embarrassing, actually, to be honest. If I was Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski, I'd be hanging my head in shame, to be brutally honest with you, especially when you look at what Van de Ven done the other day to finish as well, which is absolutely exquisite, by the way. I don't think people really understand how good it is, the intelligence to use the defender, position your body the way he did, curl it in and have the confidence to execute it as well. There's so much he does in that little one split sort of second that makes it a great goal. Is unbelievable. The last 2 players I've seen use players like that to sort of offside the keeper and bend around his Son and Harry Kane. Van de Ven on the ball is absolutely amazing, and he's much better than what I thought he was, which is a huge plus. But look, Sam, really enjoyed this conversation, my man. Sorry I didn't get to, have a good back and forth with you because my internet is really bad and I'm sort of not getting the full picture of what everyone's saying. But look, leave us your number, my man, because we will be looking for people to come on over the summer and stuff like that to have conversations with us. So if you're interested, just drop us your number.
Email us your number, please.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. I'll email it. I've got one question for you, though, before I go. A positive one. Romero against Burnley or Van der Ven against, was it Forest? Which one was better? Like Romero's like thunder curler into the top corner in the first or second game of the season, or the Van der Ven like thunder strike like Wanyama against Liverpool.
Do you know what? For me, mine is Romero. I think the technique on it, the way it falls out from the corner kick, the way he caught it, I think Romero's is the better one. I'm not taking away from Van der Ven's. I would have argued at the time that that's a wonder strike by Van der Ven. But when you look at the goal he scored the other day, he clearly has it in him, right? So it's not just a one-hit wonder. But based on the actual technique, where Romero was, how hard it is to score from there and actually get it on target and not fluff your lines, I would actually go with Romero's personally.
Yeah, for me, it's Romero as well, Sam. It's just the fact that he had to, when you look at even long shots, most of the time, a lot of players have the benefit of like the whole goal or the whole kind of frame being opened up for them. They kind of just have to hit it well, strike it well, and put it into the top corner. I made that sound very easy, of course. But the point I'm saying is like with Romero's, it was like a body of, walls of people in front of him in that Burnley game. And he had to hit it with the side of his foot and then somehow lift it over all of them, and kind of like a knuckleball sort of kind of hit that he had. I found that to be unbelievable technique. It really did remind me of almost like a Cristiano Ronaldo kind of like knuckleball hit of some kind, where it's just like, you're so shocked that he even gets over that many players' heads and then also somehow dips in at the final moment. And anytime I think you leave the keeper, I think he left the keeper standing as well. So anytime you leave a keeper standing, I think too, from a long shot, just extra bonus points for me. Villa equalizing. What a game! What a game we missed.
The goal. It's so lucky. They cross the ball and it hits Duran, who's like running, basically hits him on the knee, and it like sort of chips the goalkeeper, who just doesn't expect it to be going there. And Liverpool have had 2 goals ruled out for offside in the last like 15 minutes.
Wow. And also Mark saying, put the poll up again now. Yeah, I'd be curious what the results were.
well, now it's like we have genuinely nothing to play for. So
yeah. So how do you really believe in winning that much now? People, how much do you really believe in the principles of winning now? I'd love to see people, if their answers at all would change. Tom Hanks pants exploded, says the out loud of Dave. 440 votes, though, Sam, before I let you go, and 52% have said yes, they want to see us win tomorrow. 48% have said no. Wonder if they would have taken some of those votes back now with the added context of knowing that this season has now changed. Anything, any final points that you want to make, Sam, before we let you go? Any final things on your head?
The only thing I probably on the same sort of vein, like I'm seeing a lot of comments popping up, like some saying it's a disgrace to want us to lose, some saying Ange is a disgrace for his comments, and I'm kind of a bit like, as the cliche goes, football's the most important of the least important things in our lives. Like, it's supposed to be an escape, so I don't really like all the infighting between all of our fans. Like, you don't have to be so on one side of the fence, you should be able to see it from both sides. I'm not saying you're not a real Spurs fan if you want to lose. I'm not saying you're not a real Spurs fan if you don't want Arsenal to win. I personally don't really want to lose, but I couldn't stand the thought of them. So that's my final thought.
No, here, Sam. I preach the exact same thing. I really don't think there really is any situation that at least I've come across. I mean, I don't want to imagine something, but I feel like even if 90% of the fan base may feel one way about something, it really is just sort of a sports opinion and just an opinion about your club. It doesn't mean you're not any more or any less of a fan than someone else for it. And especially when it comes to this one, I thought this one would just be sort of kind of more funny and kind of more just kind of like, okay, how low are you willing to go? How petty are you, as a fan, that kind of thing. It's not really much deeper than that, really. At least for me, it's not that much deeper than that. I shouldn't think it should dictate whether you're a real fan or whether you're not a real fan. But yeah, people feel strongly about things, Sam. That's what can happen. And then if you don't see it through their eyes, they might feel like you are a completely different world, a completely different town. But I'm with you. Well said there. Well said there.
What I would say is that's why YouTube exists. Everyone has their opinions, and we can all come and discuss it together. It's something that you wouldn't get on your main sports channel. So I think that's the benefit of it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I contribute my point. I didn't hear what went on beforehand, but I'm just contributing.
No. Great final words, Dave. Did you want to plug your Instagram here, Sam?
I just put it on there because I felt like a little bit out of it. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I've got my channel. I got my channel." I was like, "Cool, I'll just put my Instagram on it. If you want to follow me, feel free." I post a few non-PC memes from time to time.
Okay, all right.
And that's kind of really it. Nothing special.
Well, you see, he's a really nice guy here, Sam, everybody. So please show him some love. If you want to follow him over to Instagram, do so. But Sam, Dave and I do mean that. Please email us your number. Love to get you more involved with the channel, get you in the group chat, of course, get to see and chat with people on a regular basis, that sort of thing as well. So if you feel up for it, email us your number.
You don't even have to email me, just Instagram me.
Yeah, I'll Instagram you.
Nice one. All right. See you, Sam.
All
Have a good
right,
rest of your night. Thanks for your
on.
patience, too. Thanks for your patience.
No worries.
See you, Sam.
Take it easy.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Big up, Sam.
Okay.
Well, Dave,
I think my internet's working without a virtual background, so we'll go with that.
What sort of WWE move did you give it?
Oh, the rock bar. No, what is it? Yeah, the rock bottom where he, does the thing off the ropes, takes off the armband, and then it taps it, warns you before he goes to do it, and then bam.
Oh, there it goes, everybody. Well, they're going to keep things moving. 2 more guests. They've been waiting very patiently here. We have Paul, and then we have Big Tyler, Big T left. Good to chat with him again. But let's go to our man Paul, see what he has to say. The wise head here. I wonder what he'll have to say on this whole thing. Hey, Paul.
You're on mute, Paul. You're on mute.
The forces won't let you speak, Paul.
I do that at work all the time. Join a Teams meeting, start talking and go, "You're on mute."
Well, Paul, we can't mute you this time because we want to know what you feel about this game. I mean, like I said, it's spicy today. People very divided on this one. What do you think of it?
I'm with Sam. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose because obviously I don't like losing games of football, especially at home. But again, I don't want Arsenal win the league. So to me, it's kind of, I want to see a performance tomorrow. I want to see him come out and play. I don't want to see him just fall off and go, all right, well, there's 6-7-0. Don't want that. I want to see us go out and actually play. I can see City beating us 3-1 maybe. They'll come out, get a couple of early goals. We'll come back, nick one back, and they'll just finish us off in the second half.
Mm-hmm. And
it's Man City. It's Man City. We're not going to do anything. To me, the whole conversation's irrelevant. We are not beating Man City at the minute. The way we're playing, how many goals have we scored in the last 10? Run about beating one of the best teams in the Premier League. Yeah, that isn't going to happen. Amount of chances we've had recently, it's just Johnson, Son, Kulusevski, Maddison. They've all had chances, and not one of them, is scored. It's crazy.
Is that down to individual quality, or is that down to them just being out of confidence?
Bit of both, to be fair. It's like everyone keeps saying, "Oh, well, Maddison, he can play this. He can play really well." And he, the first 10 games he played brilliant, come back. But then what has he done since? Everyone's saying, well, he's had no space. Well, the best players in the world make space. Look at Bale when he had his breakout season. He always used to get surrounded every time he was on the pitch.
Double marked.
But he always found space. He was running, moving about, whether that was drawing other players. If Bale used to pull players away to open it up for Kane and whoever else was at the front, give them more space. But no one's doing that with us. We're all rock solid still. If you look at all our games, everyone stood still. No one's running. No one's making room. No one's drawing players out. And then
Would
the
you
goals
say-
they're conceding is.
Ange said something there a while ago that some of the players weren't buying into his sort of system. Do you think it could be the forward players that he's maybe referring to? Because, like you said, lack of movement. I mean, look, that's basic. Movement is basic. Movement to get on the ball, try and find space to receive the ball. That's just basic.
Very much so. And it's, to me, none of those players want the ball. Every time they get the ball, they pass it back. Like we said I was saying to you the other day, over a week on the phone, was pass back Maddison. That's all he seems to do. Doesn't seem to pass it forward, looking for the through balls. Johnson couldn't cross if, for whatever reason, I have no reason to why he can't cross. Kuleveski always cuts inside. It's just crazy. And I think our biggest problem this season has not been having a number 9. We've always had that target man for the last 8 years. We've had a target man there to aim for, and he was obviously quite big, quite strong. But Son's not that player. Against Burnley, we put him back out on the left, and he looked so much better than he did when he was sat in the middle, waiting to be fed from Maddison, Kulu, Johnson, wherever. And when he was there, Johnson couldn't find him.
Yeah.
It's, to me, that whole forward line needs looking at in one way, shape, or form. And I don't think it's a player's not buying into it, because I think all front players want to score goals. That's their bread and butter. But I just don't think they're doing enough. They become lazy. I think they're guaranteed of their places. There's no one behind them chopping at their heels.
Yeah.
And I've seen it loads of times this season where people are going, he needs to make subs. He needs to change it. And I'm looking at the bench going, to what? What's he going to change it to? What have we got coming off that bench that's going to make an impact? Yeah, we've had a couple of games where he's changed a couple of midfield players and it's made a difference. But again, is that just players coming off the bench trying to prove a point, saying, well, I want to be in the team? And then when they get their chance, they do exactly what they were doing, what got took out of the team in the first place.
Do you know what? I absolutely 100% agree with that. For me, I'm sick of, any manager that comes here, rather than us actually buying into their philosophy, we automatically go, no, we want you to change. And we ask them to do what we didn't like what the previous manager was doing. That's what it's actually coming to. We're just like cats chasing their tails. Like under Conte, everyone wants an attacker manager. Now we've got an attacker manager. He's too attacking. We want to be more pragmatic, And I'm sick of going, oh, the manager needs to change this, change that. The moral of the story is, if you've got a full squad to complete, the manager doesn't have to change anything. The only thing he needs to change is personnel and get that right. But we're actually asking them to be like fucking Houdini at the minute. I'm pissed off and I'm fed up with it. And that's only going to change if you stick behind one manager and build a squad. In order to get a squad, the fans are going to have to show a bit of patience towards the manager anyway. You can do what you want towards the owners, but towards the manager, you have to show patience, because the only way we're going to get out of this, Meyer, is by giving a manager time to build a squad. Because if we keep changing managers every summer, we need 8-9 different positions to play this certain way. I'm absolutely fed up with it. Keep asking managers to change all you want. It's not going to resolve anything. It's not going to do anything.
I totally agree with that, to be honest. And I go back to Ange did that interview with Optus Sports, was it, that he did it with? And he mentioned there, and he mentioned all the back line, but he mentioned maybe one or two players that were in the middle, but he said he's looking further up the pitch to make changes. He says he hasn't even got his first 11 yet, let alone a full squad. So that tells me that there's major changes coming in the summer. I don't think he's happy with half the team. And everyone says, oh, Ange brought this player in, brought that player in, brought this player in. But then that was his first season, first window. Obviously, he'd just come from, it's not like he was a Premiership manager that's seen these players play in, week out. He's maybe seen highlight reels of what the players can do.
Yeah.
Pre-season he didn't get much chance to see him. So when we went out to Fulham in the FA Cup, he played the team that basically finished 8th in the league last year. And everyone wondered why we didn't win. But then how does he find out which players are actually going to be able to step up to the mark? But I think that was a good game. I also think we've had lack of games this year for people to get that chance. Like everyone says, oh, bring Donnelly through, bring Mikey Moore through, bring these players through. But that's all well and good. But I also think our injuries have come from because we're not playing enough. So we're going from 100 miles an hour to stopping for 2 weeks to going back at 100 miles an hour. Ask any athlete that does that, you're going to pick up injuries. It's because your body's not staying warm, so to speak. It's going cold, sitting there for 2 weeks or a week or 10 days or 9 days, however long it is. You know, and I think when we got these 4 games that we had in a row, I don't think anyone expects us to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. No one expected us to beat Liverpool at Anfield after what happened at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So those 2 games were a write-off anyway. I was just a bit disappointed with the Arsenal game with the performance where they didn't show up. And that's another thing that annoys me with this conversation at the minute because we had our chance to stop it. And what did we do?
Yeah.
We did absolutely nothing.
We had our chance to show that we had a winner's mentality. We had our chance to show that we cared. And it was Tin Man that said earlier, Paul, right? He feels like we've been on the beach the last 4 or 5 games. So why on earth would you then show up for this one, like all of a sudden, and put in your best effort? It does seem a bit odd.
We've been on the beach since January.
Paul, can I ask you, there's a quick point that you made there, and, you know, it's a specific one, but you did say that Ange's recruitment, you know, and kind of the players that he's quote unquote approved of buying in. I have heard fans, you know, question his sort of eye or his, you know, ability to point out the right players. I find it harsh because they use the example of Johnson. I agree, he's been frustrating, but he also gave the go-ahead on Vicario, right? He spoke to Vicario and, you know, picked between the two. And then also in the case of Van de Ven and then probably Tapsoba, I think Tapsoba is a great player, but he picked Van de Ven, and we're so eternally grateful for it. So, I mean, and surely he does have a good picture. Like, he can get it right, the players that he picks from.
Yeah, of course he can. And everyone says that Johnson was picked by Ange. I think it was more the club. We've been linked with Johnson for a couple of years, if I remember rightly, on and off, you know, where it's come up. He's always been there or thereabouts as a name we're always looking at. So it seems strange that he's come in on the season that we get rid of Harry Kane. Was that just a quick snap by the club? Like, we haven't got time. Let's just get somebody in to fill that gap. Same as Werner in January. He's a stopgap filler. You know, I never saw him as a permanent signing. I just, great, get him in, fills a gap, fills a hole for now.
Know what you mean.
But then this summer, we've got to get ruthless. We cannot hold on to players. And what I don't want to see Levy doing is going, we get an offer for a player, but he wants 5 million more. You know, but we need him out the door so we can get better quality players in. That's where I think we're going to come unstuck this summer, is where we're going to get offers in for players we want to get rid of, but we're not going to want to sell them for what they're offering. So they're just going to, Levy's going to hold on and hold on and hold on. And we'll go back to a last minute snatch buy again at the end of the summer window, which is what we do every season.
Yeah. Look,
how many players we bought last day of the transfer window, and how many of them are actually worked out?
Look, with the Brendan Johnson one, we had to go into the homegrown market, and look, there's no excuses. We got it wrong, but it does reduce 90% of the market you can shop in. But look, I agree with you. In terms of this summer, we've got to get ruthless. We can't keep going around in this circle. Like I've made this argument last summer. You know, rip up contracts. You know, and I get the argument that's made against it about the money and stuff like that, which I understand to a certain degree. But by ripping them up, you're actually showing ambition. And for me, that's what I want to see. You know, we've constantly over the last 3 to 4 years done it their way, the slow way, right? You know, trying to maximize what we can get and doing it money-wise. And it actually kills us on the pitch. It almost kills our season halfway through the season. You know, we're just sort of seeing out the rest of the season from there on out. For me, I want to see a change. I want to see us to get ruthless. I want us to be able to build a squad so that we can actually go into the season and actually compete for once and have a chance of actually sustaining the good starts to the season we actually get off to. And the only way by doing that is building a squad, because I'm sick of it. Every single season, we start rolling out some of the same individuals again halfway through. And everyone's like, Dave, give them an opportunity. Stop being a meanie pants and all this bollocks. And I just wait for it to happen, because it happens every single season. It tails off when a lot of these guys come in. And in order for that to change, we have to get ruthless. We have to rip up contracts if we can't get them sold. And at some point, we're going to have to cash in on what we can get. Anyway, with the market now being sort of with a lot of teams around Europe not having any money, we're not going to get too much resale value for a lot of these players anymore. So at some point, they're just going to have to take what they can get, the 5-10 million. We're in the hands of the buying club right now. We're not the players we're selling are not in demand. So it's not like we can sit there and go 30, 35 million or else. You know, the players we're trying to get rid of is Deadwood. So it's going to come at a cost price. And I just asked them just once this summer, take the hit. You know, just take the hit for once. Why is it always us that has to take the hit? Take the hit for once. Fed up of it.
That's what I want to see us do. To be honest, it's more, but this has been happening season after season after season, you know, where we get to a certain point in the season and we always tail off. It's every season that we do it now. It's becoming quite regular. So there's obviously something wrong with the squad because they're not playing, or, you know, obviously the manager merry-go-round doesn't help, but, you know, let's get some stability within the managerial side of it. Once that's in, let him get his players, you know, and I think there's going to be a few shocks in the summer. You know, I think a few players are going to go that maybe a lot of fans don't want to see go.
I've seen you say that in the chat and to us personally, Paul, that you feel like there will be some surprise departures.
I totally believe there will be, because if you look at every other club Andrew's been at, 15 to 20 players go out the door. You know, he wants his own players in. He wants, you know, and he's got an eye for a decent player. Obviously, he might have been told, well, look, Johnson's agreed to come. Do you want him or not? You know, and he might have just said, well, I've got no other options at the minute, because obviously he didn't know what was in the team. So the first window, I always give the managers a free hit, because they never know. They're not in the club long enough, and some of these targets we've been looking at for months, like Maddison. We've wanted Maddison for years.
Yeah.
You know, but we only got him when he got relegated.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of, to me, the first window is always a write-off. This season for me was all about Ange coming in, finding out what the players can do, who's buying into it, who can play, who can't play system. And this summer, I think you'll see the big clear out everyone was expecting last season.
Do you know, I just hope so, Paul, because, you know, it was the same under Jose. People are like, Jose, he's not going to tolerate it. But at the end of the day, the board have shown they don't care how big of a personality they have or fearful of a personality they have in the job. They'll do what makes sense for their balance sheets. So that's where I'm a bit fearful when it comes to Postecoglou. It doesn't matter about his demeanor, what sort of guy he is, what he tolerates, what he doesn't tolerate, because at the end of the day, the checkbook is always going to outweigh that, and that's my big fear with it. I would love it to happen for Ange Postecoglou like I did for Jose and Conte, but we have a history of doing it our way, and that's where I worry a little bit. I do understand what you're saying, but, like, you know, Jose didn't tolerate shit anywhere else he went, but he was forced to do it at Tottenham. Same with Conte, and I just fear in that regard. But if they back him and they let him head into next season, then I think every fan is in their right to expect that they're going to finally have this painful rebuild that Pochettino spoke about.
And with the regards to Conte and Jose with the board, they wanted £100 million players. You know, they wanted players that were world-class, ready to go, step in the team.
I hear that, Paul, but you not think the board knew that when they hired him, though?
Of course they did, but they thought, you know, I'll come in, we can talk and round everything else, but then look how long they lasted. You know, they got fed up with it and went.
Postecoglou's similar, by the way. He's a winner.
Yeah, but he's not. But he's also not somebody who's used to going out and being in the European game, like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. You know, not been at all these clubs where they've got hundreds of millions of pounds to go. Oh yeah, we'll just go and buy Jude Bellingham for 100 million. Then next season, drop another 100 million on Messi. You know, he's never had that. He's always had limited budgets, which I think is going to come in handy. It's like with Van der Ven. Finding Van der Ven was a gem, you know, and I think he saw what he could do, but obviously he doesn't want it all to fall to him. I think our back line is slowly getting there. We need a little bit more reinforcement, but once that's done, you know, then we need to start looking at the midfield and that forward line. Something needs to change rapidly.
Do you know what? I actually agree with you in terms of Postecoglou and doesn't need a huge budget. I agree with that. But what he does need is the board of the people around him, or the support of the people around him, to clear out the players that he needs to clear out, to bring in the players that he needs. I'm not really any worried about, the signings that he's going to make to bring in here. I'm comfortable with that. I'll wash my hands with it. We're not going to get £100 million players. And like you said, Ange knows how to work within that. But what he has had at other clubs is a board that's bought into his vision and have cleared out the decks for him to be able to do that. Like you said earlier on, some clubs he's cleared out up to 20 players. But that's because the board allowed him to do it that no matter the cost. And that's where I'm getting at. That's where I hope our board do it. But we'll wait and see, Paul. We'll wait and see, my man.
But again, it's like, I can see him doing that because Conte, Jose were given 2-year contracts and just been given a 4 off the bat.
Yeah.
So that suggests to me that he's gone to the board, and obviously Ange isn't silly. He would have known what's gone on at the club previously, and he probably would have gone in there and said, I'm not taking it unless you let me do it my way. You support me to do what I need to do, or there's no point in me coming in, and he's always said it all season. I need to change the mentality. I'm not just here to win one cup. I'm here to build sustained success.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, the sustained success. Yes, I'm desperate for a cup like every other Spurs fan is out there. That piece of silverware in the cabinet. But yes, he sacrificed them this year. But I think he did that to see what the players could do and what they couldn't do, because he had very limited games to see the players without the Conference League, for example. If he'd had the Conference League, he maybe could have put them, maybe could have taken the cups a little bit more seriously, because he'd have had a competition where he could blood new blood, get the likes of, but we've had no games this season.
Yeah.
I think, how many games have we had? 38 and then 3 in the cup? Maybe 41, 42 games?
Yeah.
In a whole season?
Yeah. I think we've had one of our lowest tally of games in well over a decade anyway, that's for sure.
And I think that's been our biggest problem this year. Not having 2 games a week.
Well, look,
unfit.
I agree with that to a certain extent. Players do say they prefer to be in the routine of games and stuff like that, for sure. But look, Paul, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for calling in, my man. I really do appreciate it. And we'll speak again soon.
That we shall.
Nice
Have a
one,
good
Paul.
evening, guys. Thanks for having me.
Have a good evening.
Take care. Bye.
Have
good
a
man.
good one, my man. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Absolute great call by Paul. And I actually may put him in the group chat as well. Really good call. Really enjoyed Paul there as well.
Busy work with the group chat. We got to get going on that one. Got to start beefing it up here. So many great people we need to get into there. But great call as always from Paul. Really can't count on him to provide a good conversation. And I do like his accent, I must say. I do like his voice a lot. Tyler, you back there, sir? There he is. Last man, closer, Dave. Bring in the big T.
Big up, Tyler. How you keeping, my man?
Good, guys. How you guys doing?
I like the old kit.
Good.
Thank you.
What's on your mind, Tyler? Do you feel the same as Dermot, or do you feel the same as Michael when it comes to the game tomorrow?
Well, I was a bit in between. It's kind of like, obviously you never want to root for your team to lose, but having the scum win and, it being sort of on us, that would definitely really hurt. But I've been saying the whole time, like, no matter what, the players, the manager, the coaches, the club, if they're not giving it their all in every single game, then what's the point? But like you guys even said recently, they've been checked out for the last 5 games, if not more. So it's like, if they were to turn up all of a sudden, that would be also very weird. So I don't know. I mean, personally now, I don't think we could even beat City, even if we did try, to be honest, right now. I don't think we have the goal scorers to be able to score on them enough, because obviously we're going to concede. All they have to do is whip balls into the box, whether it's on set pieces or just in the run of play. De Bruyne and all of them are going to whip balls in with ease, and we're going to get beat. I'm pretty certain about that. But
Yeah, a lot of fans feel like some of these debates are actually quite immaterial or quite unimportant because Man City will still beat us even if we did try to
Yeah.
put up our best effort and even if we could put in our best performance. And that's probably based off of recent performances like Burnley where it wasn't even that convincing despite us winning. Wouldn't you say, Tyler? Did we even look that convincing against Burnley that, why would Spurs fans even, I guess, have much confidence in winning tomorrow?
No, it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I've been so sick of watching. It's like no matter what, I'm always gonna watch, but it hurts to watch. It really does. I mean,
What in
I don't.
particular hurt to watch? Was it the forward line for you?
Yeah, I mean, forward line and the midfield.
Hmm.
I mean, the midfield has started to play a little better maybe recently, but I mean, the forward line's been horrible, and I feel bad for Sonny. Like, don't get me wrong, he's playing like shit. I'm gonna be straight up and honest. He's been absolutely dog shit. But you have to realize how much is on his shoulders in that attack. Like, he's got to literally do everything. He's playing with like idiots up there. I mean, they don't even know what to do when they get the ball. Like, and they just pass back. They won't take on their man, and it's honestly hard to watch. And look, Sonny's getting old. And don't get me, I'm not one of the people that wants the Sun to sell Son at all. I do not want that. Look, if someone offered like 75, 100 mil, okay, maybe you take that, but I doubt that happening. But he's getting older. We need to get some fresh guys in here. So we need to get a striker and we need to get a class winger, and so he can be rotated. He should not be starting. 38 games. I know he missed some games because of Korea, but in the games he was playing Korea, I think he played twice 120 minutes. I mean, the guy's getting older. He has to do everything for Korea as well. It's just way too much on the player. You see him falling off at the end of last season too.
Yeah.
So I think he's just getting tired. I mean, I'm sure he's playing through some injuries as well because there's no way to stay healthy that entire period. He's
Isn't
playing way
it
too much.
isn't it interesting though, Tyler, that we feel like it's still an off season for Son, but he's finished with more goal contributions than even players like Saka, Foden, Solanke, so many, players across, the Premier League that have had brilliant, brilliant seasons. Sonny's actually finished with more goals and assists than they have, and we're calling it an off season for him.
And exactly, you saw in the beginning of the season when everyone was healthy, when everyone was fresh, he was killing it. Whether he was playing on the left or in the middle, he was finishing everything that was put in front of him. I mean, he was playing really good, and him and Madison were linking up well. After Madison got hurt and the team started falling off, we haven't seen that same chemistry with Madison and Son. They haven't been on the
True.
same page anymore.
True.
So let's see what happens, but. No one should be overreacting and demanding we sell Son. That I don't think that's the answer at all.
I just think it's an absolute ludicrous conversation to have. I just say,
Yeah.
have we not learned our lessons from, the same arguments people used to make to get Harry Kane out of the football club? I mean, have we not learned our lessons? And, now we're sitting here moaning about how shit we are up front, but yeah, everyone tried to paint a rosy picture in the summer. So, can we just please learn our lessons when it comes to Son? This guy has single-handedly dragged this forward line, across this whole season, being our finisher and our creator. The conversation should be, what supporting cast are we going to get for Sonny? That's what the conversation should be. Not, he's 31, let's cash in. Because, look, I'm sick of it. Everyone moans about how little money we spend, but yet we want to cash in on our world-class players to give them more money. They got 100 million for Harry Kane. I'm still waiting for them to replace him.
Yep.
So I have no faith they're going to replace Sonny whatsoever.
100% agree.
I'm just sick of it. We don't appreciate world-class players at Tottenham. We just don't. We just want to get rid of them. I'm sick of it. And then we sit there and make all the excuses why Brennan Johnson's going to come good and everything else. It's absolutely mind-boggling and pisses me off at times. Anyway, Tyler, sorry. Any other points you want to make?
Let's talk a little bit about the under 21s.
Oh yes, let's go. My specialist subject.
I was excited. I was watching the match with you.
Thank you for
the
that.
watch along was great. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. everyone make sure whenever he does do under 21 match reactions, the live reactions, everyone get in there and support. We had a really good time, so look for those streams to be popping up. But no, the under 21s, it was a great watch. Obviously, Jamie Donnelly is just absolutely incredible. Him and Tyrese Hall were, I mean, they were linking up perfectly. They were setting up everything. Niall John had a really good game. The only thing is with the under 21s, ever since Ashley Phillips has left, they've been leaking in goals quite frequently. And that
Keith, I'd argue.
Yeah, and that Rio Kiramontan, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's just not a fullback. So him playing out of position, he gets caught out here and there. And the 3 times he got caught out were very costly. So Liverpool were able to get back into the game. Sadly, I couldn't watch the extra time. I had to go to tennis, but I'm glad
You
we
didn't
were
miss
able to pull
much.
through.
You didn't miss much in extra time. You know, not neither side really created a whole deal. On Kieran mentioned, you know what, I agree with you. Yesterday was probably his worst game he's had in a long time. And I think he'll probably be disappointed with himself. I feel a bit sorry for the guy because he's being used as an utility player because the under 21s are so short on numbers. He's really a centre midfielder that likes to, a bit like Therese Hall, get on the ball box to box. But we're shoving him in at right back. We're putting him in at left back. And look, Tyler, I'd argue Tyler Ashcroft didn't do much better when he come on that side. I just think that guy who played down that side for Liverpool was absolutely superb yesterday. Even his penalty was absolutely brilliant. But I do agree with you. I think it was twice within a couple of 3 times. We could have actually lost it with one of the mistakes he made as well. Bit of a disappointing night for him, but I will stress to people he is not a right back. He's filling in because of we've loaned out players. We also tore up Brooklyn Lions Foster's contract and that as well. So we've left ourselves short in that regard. What about Tyrese Hall, Tyler? Because what is it you like about this guy? Because I know people that watch the under 21s are big fans of this guy, but outside of that, you don't hear as much noise about him. Why do people need to keep an eye on him?
Technically, he's got a lot of talent. But it's really his work rate's unreal. I mean, he was pressing the entire match, at least the 90 minutes. I didn't watch the extra time. I think he stayed on the pitch.
He was even better.
He scored a penalty, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the shootout, yeah. So I mean, he's got an absolute engine on him. He had one opportunity. He does finish quite well, but he did have an opportunity earlier on in the match where he should have probably put in the back of the net, but that chip finish was fantastic.
Oh, that was delectable.
Yeah, so
what about his second one? Which one was better, though, Tyler? I mean, I almost thought the second one was better. The one on the half volley. It's easy to snatch them and put them over the bar.
Yeah, I mean, the kid's got endless talent, and his work rate is there. So, I think he's definitely going to be someone in the future that breaks into the first team. Honestly, I think him and Jamie Donnelly have endless opportunity to become very good players, and I hope we use them well because, like I think I said it in the watch along. I was like, if we end up ruining all these players again, and we ended up having a guy like Edwards go, or if we don't start to use these players, I mean, they're gonna want out. They're gonna we got to be able to start incorporating them into the first team. We have to. So.
I would actually ask for an inquest if Donnelly doesn't get 100 appearances for Tottenham and Tyrese Hall doesn't get an opportunity as well. I'd actually be asking for an inquest on what the hell is going on in there because it'd be an absolute crime to waste 2 really special talents.
And Dorrington is just unreal. I mean, the confidence this kid has at 17 or 18. How good he is on the ball as a center back, how dominant he is. I mean, the kid is absolutely incredible. I still don't understand how he didn't get at least a chance when we had all those injuries. At least coming on for 10 minutes or something. Like I don't know how, but whatever. I don't want to overreact to a lot of things right now with Ange. I want to feel him out. Let's see what happens next season. Let's see what happens in the summer. Let's hopefully bring in some good players. But one last thing I did want to talk about was I still don't understand the fact that he keeps playing. He wanted to play Skip and Emerson at left back instead of bringing in Mickey Van de Ven to the left and Draxton the center back because we saw at the end of that Burnley game how much better we looked. Van de Ven has all the quality on the ball. His speed's unreal. Obviously, we want to keep that partnership going with Romero, right? So I see that why he doesn't want to switch that up. But if we want to get results, he needs to be starting at left back and Dragusin at center back while we have Adogi injured. There's no reason for that not to be happening.
Just on that, just quickly. Look, Postecoglou was asked about, and he did say about, Van de Ven and the hamstrings. I look at it. I don't think he's ever going to come out and say, "Yeah, look, mate, Dragoson's agent, coming out and saying what he does, I have to make a stand." I don't think he's ever going to come out and say that. But do you think that's possibly, the reason why? Because let's be brutally honest, not everything is told to us at face value. Some things do go on behind closed doors, that they're not going to put out there in the press. Do you think that's why we haven't seen it? Because I think many people sort of were worried about Dragusin agent when he first arrived. When you look at the quotes he made once he signed on the dotted line, he almost sat there and said, "I wanted him to go to Bayern."
Yeah, I mean, he had said that after Emerson had started 2 games, right? Was that he had already said, or had he been complaining before about the minutes? I don't know, but that very well could be an issue. I don't think it's entirely right to punish the player, but some agents do. Some agents do screw their players over by speaking, or sometimes it's the players' family members or parents. Pulisic had a moment at Chelsea where his father had gotten really pissed and had been angrily tweeting, and he ended up getting out of there. Luckily for him, he's been absolutely incredible at Milan. 25 contributions. So big up the American, but yeah, no, it definitely could be a factor for sure. He'll never say it. He'll never admit it, though.
Yeah.
We know how Ange is too.
Yeah. For sure. Jack, any last questions for Big T?
Yeah, sure, Big T. I mean, did you have any preference on the strikers that we were looking at today? Paul O'Keefe came out, Solanke, Jimenez, the likes of Ivan Toney, Luis
Guirassy was in
Apenda.
there.
Guirassy was in there. That's the one I keep forgetting. Any opinions? Any preferences on those?
Yeah, for me, I think, Ivan Toney's an incredible player, don't get me wrong, but he had come out and said he was an Arsenal fan, or he did also want to join Liverpool. So, and plus his attitude issues, the gambling, the way he's kind of treated Brentford now that he's come back.
True.
I just don't know about him. I mean, quality-wise, he's definitely one of the best available, but I probably would not go after him. For me, I'm leaning more towards Victor Gyökeres at Sporting, the Swedish guy. I think he's incredible. I really like Vlahovic as well. Yeah, no, I'm not entirely convinced of Solanke, and I think Jimenez is very overrated, and I do not like Mexican players as an American. I do love Mexico and their culture, though. Don't get me wrong, I love Mexico.
Just
but
on the football pitch.
I'll never support a Mexican player. I'd be absolutely pissed if we signed Jimenez.
Oh.
And I'd lose my mind.
You don't want a Giovanni Dos Santos part 2?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I kind of do. I always wanted Dos Santos to turn out well. I always did. I like that, Tyler. I love that. That's great pettiness, today. If we're ever gonna, it's just been the day of rivalries and pettiness, today, and it's all coming out at once. I like that one from Tyler. My other last question for you, and then I think we'll end things off here, Big T, is just sort of on kind of maybe this summer, like what's your non-negotiable? What's your biggest priority in the summer when it comes to what we need to either get rid of or what we need to bring in?
You can't do that to me. There's so many. It's not. I don't have that one thing.
Sorry.
When
it's the last question, I'm never going to make it easy.
Yeah, and I think. I mean, obviously we need to bolster that attack, but I think we have to get a dominant CDM in there. A guy with some height, some physicality, and that can spray a ball. We just need the height and physicality, not only for set pieces, but just in general on the pitch.
Yeah.
We just need that tank in the middle to support the team. I mean, you see what Rodri and Rice does for City and Arsenal. We need that dominant CDM. I really think so, and. I've been all over Paulinho all year, but I know a lot of people don't like him because of more of his age and the price. But I think he would be a really good player to get in here. But that's the big one for me. I think we really need a dominant CDM.
Do you know what? I actually don't mind Pauline. I really like him, and I'm trying to work out whether he's clever with his fouling because he gets away with it so much, or whether it's because he's not wearing a Tottenham shirt, and the minute he puts that on, will the referee start calling it?
Yeah.
And then if they do, then it sort of becomes ineffective, right? So, but I do like him. I do like him. But big up, Big T. Good chatting to you, and thank you very much for joining me on the Under 21 watch along yesterday, my man. It does mean a lot to me, you guys who do tune in for them and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it, and hopefully we pick up the trophy on Thursday night, Tyler.
Yep, 100%. Can't wait to watch it. Hopefully the under 21s get it done, and just get ready for another Donley masterclass because I mean the kid is just so I mean he was creating chances after chance. I mean the kid's unbelievable, and his work rate's really good as well. So really excited for that match.
And you know what? The work rate, I think, is what's going to carry Donley and Hall all the way to the first team. I think it will, the work rate. It's impressive. But Tyler, you go off and enjoy the rest of your day. It looks like you've got a semi-okay day behind you. So
it's like Allan.
Make the most of it.
It's like Allan. You two make us so jealous with the backgrounds. I must say, you do a great job of providing the best backgrounds. Of all the fan show call-ins, you guys have the two best ones.
Yeah, sadly, the summer's coming along here, so it's gonna get very hot. The other day when I was on the court, I thought I was gonna pass out. It was bad, but it's only gonna get worse from here. So I got to get used to it again.
I bet. Well, Tyler, have a good rest of your evening, sir, and we'll see you soon, my man. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your call.
Thank you for having me on.
Have a good one, Tyler. Bye bye.
Great call as always.
Chat. Really enjoy that. Really enjoy when Big T, what Big T brings to the party.
Yeah, exactly. Always good to hear from the
Just quickly, I want Rob Wallace gifted 10 IrishHotspur memberships. Really, really nice of you. Rowley Birkin, QC, Foggy Foam, Kevin Ferguson, Steve 24/7, Lisa D, John Tacker, Bob Bean Counter, Tekken, Yanis Rublis, and Merovigan 1980 are the lucky recipients. So, guys, please make sure you send your thank you to Rob Wallace. For the generosity. But second of all, Rob Wallace, my man, how are you keeping? Let me know how you're keeping in the chat. It's been a while, brother. How's life keeping down over that side of the world? Do let me know, my man.
Absolute legend, Rob Wallace. Thanks for the support, sir. And also, it looked like you gifted it to a lot of people who I know usually have had a membership. So I think you just saved them a bit of trouble. Provided them a bit of convenience as well. So thanks to so many of you guys who have also been members in the past. I can tell people like Tekken, Bald Bean Counter, people like that have been longtime members. So thanks, Rob, for putting them back on it, and maybe they'll see some of the content they've missed and get to enjoy some of the summer with us. And please, everybody, do take advantage of it, because the next fan show, the next one, hopefully on Monday, if nothing crazy happens, it should be on Monday. We are going to be doing our sort of season wrap up, right? And that's going to be probably the last sort of big fan show really of this season. And we would love to have all of you guys there. We would love to have a chat with each and every one of you. So please take advantage of it. Take advantage of Rob's generosity. Couldn't be better timing.
No, it couldn't be better timing, Rob. Fair play to you. And, it's a great way to support the channel, but also, help others benefit from it as well. Inflation's high, it's through the roof on everything. So it really does mean a lot in that regard, Rob Wallace. Big yourself up, my man. And I really appreciate it. And like I said, please do let me know how you're keeping, down under. Absolute legend. Big yourself up, my man. Very, very kind of you. And to go with 10 as well. I could have just went with the simple 5. He didn't. He wanted to double up and go with 10. What an absolute legend.
Thank you, Rob.
Kuva's in the chat as well. Big up Dave and Jack all in the chat. It feels harder and harder to fit all of the YouTube channels in now. I've neglected you. No, look, there's so many out there. People can pick and choose who they want to win, who they want to watch and stuff like that. Who tickles their goat, What's the quote? Different strokes for different folks, Kuva, if you know what I mean. So it is what it is. Look, I don't hold a grudge against anybody for it and stuff like that. I've often said to people, life gets in the way and stuff like that, but we're always here if you want. So big up, Kuva. Good to see you in the building. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. But guys, we are going to call it a night. Your boy, Big Dave, does need dinner. He's got shepherd's pie, ready to go. Bit of brown sauce. salt and pepper on that bad boy as well. I'm hungry and I'm off to eat.
Have a good dinner, Dave. Never want to hold him back from that. Great fan show. So many of you guys came on and had a say. I really did appreciate it as well, because it does make me happy. It does put a smile on my face when we already have a healthy queue before we even get the show started. And then there was a good queue throughout the show. And people also kept their patience and were really good as well in waiting their turn. And really do appreciate that too, because I know we try to give everybody as much time as they deserve, but also, we do want to not make anybody wait too long either. So we do appreciate your guys' patience. Thanks to Tin Man, Paul Markey, Al Ben, so many of you guys, and Rob Wallace for supporting the channel today as well. With some donations and some great comments. Like today was I think we really kept our cool in all of it. SOF as well. Really appreciate you. But I think everybody kept their cool for the most part. But it was spicier than usual. I think kind of in the debates and of the opinions and everything, which was fun to enjoy. It really was.
Yeah.
So absolute legends, all of you. We'll see you tomorrow. For the preview is already up there for all of you members. Pre-match build up tomorrow. Watch along tomorrow. We'll see you all there.
Yeah, all the usual match day content. I can't wait to kick it off. It's going to be a very interesting day, that's for sure. Villa did draw today, so I believe Champions League is still in our hands. So it's going to be, this conversation is set to continue for another 24 hours at least. Tomorrow, 4:30, be there or be square. It's your choice. I know what I would do. I will be there. See you all soon. Come on, you Spurs. In the mighty hands we trust. We never stop.
Come on, you Spurs. In the big Ange we trust. See you, everybody.
Blue Moon.